I haven't been part of a team since I was with the Four Peters.
with your ugly ass, man. Bobby, you need to go get a fucking job or something, man. I'm about to kick you out of the house. You're gonna be homeless.
Let's go practice medicine.
Let's get him! Sucks! Oh, yeah, come get some, you freaking Engineers of blooded fight! Hey, it's not what's good here,
Boys, girls, and enemies of all shapes, sizes, colors, and orientations, welcome one and all to the only Alec Gunter stream that exists on this planet. That would be me, Alec Gunter. Hello, welcome. Unless there's another one that I'm unaware of. Sorry, I forgot to set my lights. I was in a hurry to start the stream. There we go, much better. That's better. Okay. Hello, everybody. Welcome in, welcome in. I might actually stand up for a little bit, but I don't know yet. We'll see. Either way, welcome in everybody. I'm already late, so I'll do a quick introduction real quick. I just got back from the gym. Feeling a little tired, but I'm good. Yeah, I don't know. I hope you're all doing good today. Looks like Vanestra Dial, aka Vanessa Joy, is ready to go. So, let's go ahead and jump right into it, okay? Without further ado. I know that was very fast, so I apologize. We're doing it fast today. Let's do it. Vanestra Dial's YouTube is in the title of this video. You can click on it, and that'll take you directly to her page. Open Zoom meetings. Must be updated. Ah! Okay, guess we'll update real quick. Well, while that's updating, how's everybody else doing? We're doing a Zoom meeting just to keep it a little bit more professional. Alex is the type of guy who has the Subway Surfers theme song in a Spotify playlist. Possibly. You can't prove that. Yeah, I think I'm going to stand up. I'm getting a little restless. Vraylar, man. Makes you restless. There we go. Fix the light a little bit. I think that's fine. Could be a little brighter, but it's whatever. Been farming Warframe, might actually catch up before the next major update. That's pretty cool. Okay. Oh. Here we go. Should be an interesting interview. Hurry up with the damn updates. Fuck your updates. Nobody cares. Nobody even cares, man. Nobody cares, man. Okay. What do you even do, man? You just update? That's all you do, man. All you do is update shit, man. It's lame as shit, man. It actually looks better on my Logitech, not gonna lie. Which is good, because that's probably all I'll be using when I record. There we go. Okay. Hello? Hello, hello? Oh, sorry. Didn't mean to spook you. Oh, gotcha. No, no, no. Take your time. Take your time. Whenever you're ready, we can get started. Oh, we're waiting on Alexander, actually. Sorry. Yeah, we'll wait. I'll get this set up. View. There we go. Much better. Yes, are you okay with that? I didn't mean to... Okay. Okay, just making sure. Oh, it's totally up to you. I know that you said that something about the recording was better. I forget what. Yeah, if you don't mind. Sure. Sounds good. We aren't getting her audio. Thank you for pointing that out. Why would that be? Give me just a second. Can you try to say something now? Nope, not quite. Hold on. Well, isn't that something? Well, let me try something here. What if I do this? Automatic. Can you try to say something now? Nope, not quite. I'll figure it out before Alexander gets here. Okay. Can you try to say something now?
Yeah, something now.
Okay, I think that will work.
Yeah, just I had trouble, like, I was recording a podcast episode, and for some reason, the people couldn't hear the audio from when I started sharing a screen, so...
It's very interesting. I don't know why my mic is so loud now.
I don't know.
No, I can't have anything. Hold on.
Howdy.
Hello.
Okay. I don't... guys, I think that my mic is getting a lot of feedback. I don't know why, so I apologize for that. We're going to have to just run with it.
You sound fine to me.
Do I sound fine to everybody else? Is there feedback? Hello? Checking. 1, 2, 3.
1, 2, 10.
You sound fine? Okay, if I sound fine to you guys, then I'm going to say that it's fine. Okay. Alright, so I'm recording. Alright, is everybody ready?
Lux is working on their audio.
Okay.
How's my mic sound?
You sound good to me.
Okay, good. I've been playing with my gain a little bit. My last podcast episode, like, you could hear my breathing really heavily, and it was obnoxious.
I've been screwing around with this microphone for a while now, so I keep switching it back and forth. So it is what it is. These professional mics, man. My Yeti was so much easier to work with, honestly.
And I'm using...
Yep. Yep, exactly. It just, I don't know what it is. It's just easier. Hopefully Lux doesn't come in double. That'll be sucky. Well, actually, I could just disable. Okay, never mind. I'll make it work.
Okay, I think I can hear now.
All right.
Okay, cool. Yes, I can hear now. Amazing. Hi, everybody.
Hello,
Hi.
welcome. All right. Are we all good?
All set.
All right. Is everybody recording who needs to?
Do you want me to be?
Recording in progress.
I'm recording here now.
Okay, great. Anybody who wants to can. I only need mine and then possibly Vanessa's.
I just didn't know if you wanted to do audio separately because I can do that.
Okay, I'm not sure if it'll matter that much, but
No worries.
yeah, it's fine. Whatever you want to do.
Cool. We'll just leave it as is then.
All right, excellent. Well, welcome everybody. How are you guys doing?
I think that daylight savings time is a siege tactic.
It's something. It's not.
We just need to stay on it.
Yeah.
Stay on summertime. That seems to be... Everybody's always so mopey about how it gets dark earlier in the winter.
What the politicians just keep talking about is keeping us on standard time. Because, of course, if they're going to do anything right, they're going to fuck it up. You know?
Yeah.
It's true.
Oh, sorry. Is there censorship or what?
Oh, no, it doesn't. It doesn't matter. Whatever you're comfortable saying is fine for the broadcast.
Okay, I have a potty mouth, so.
Oh, well, so do I. So it's all good. We'll get along just fine.
I was on NPR about a month ago, and I had to, like, keep myself from, going off into my tirades, so.
Politics would have been pretty hard for you then.
Yeah, no kidding.
Oh, I
You're
would have
really...
I would have been an asshole, but
Yeah.
I'm chaotic neutral. It would have been a lot of fun.
Speaking of, Why don't we get into it? So, what we're here to discuss today, Vanessa Joy. I am joined with Luxander, and we are doing a little bit of an interview on you today because of some recent shenanigans that went down in, what was the county? Stark County, is that correct?
Stark County.
Stark County, that's right. You made, I believe, national headlines, didn't you?
International.
International.
Yeah. Yeah, I made it all the way into Canada and I think England. So.
That's crazy.
And
but
Poland, too. So it's weird.
That's insane. Would you like to tell us a little bit about why you made national headlines?
Well, I was running for office in a very red district, and going around collecting my signatures without knowing about this really obscure law in Ohio, where if you've changed your name in the past 5 years and you don't put that name on the signature sheets, the petitions, sorry, that's the word I was looking for, then you are disqualified from office. And that information was nowhere in any of the candidate handbooks. There's not even a spot on the petitions to list a former name. So pretty much nobody in Ohio knows about the law. Other boards of election don't know about it. The Ohio Democratic Party didn't know about it. Sounds like even up until now, the Secretary of State didn't really know about it that much. So, but I happen to be in a county where someone at the Board of Elections happened to know about the law and it flagged my petitions. So even though I did have enough signatures to get on the ballot, they disqualified me and gave me no ability to rectify it due to this gotcha law. And even the Democrats, because the boards of election have 2 Republicans and 2 Democrats, and the Democrats didn't even give me a chance. Turns out one of them is the chairman of the Stark County Democratic Party, and I've heard through the grapevine that he didn't want me running in the first place, so I think he found a way to keep me off. Apparently, they only like backing candidates that have already been involved with the Stark County Democratic Party, but I'm new to the area, and I only decided to run out of necessity because the trans community is trying to be eradicated in Ohio, so yeah, it was fun.
Is it true that that ended up being the situation where you were the only Democrat who was even trying to run in that particular district, so the Republican ended up running unopposed?
Yeah, a writing candidate has actually stepped in. His name is Doremus Redvine, so I'm throwing my support behind him. But yeah, but that's only if he gets his 50 signatures on the 19th. Otherwise, it's going to stay a red district. So, which is quite annoying, honestly.
That they would rather have no Democrat running than have you running is like, it's pretty egregious. And weren't there other trans people running in Ohio? Not the same county, I assume.
No.
Okay.
There are 2 other trans women running for office in Ohio that they also recently changed their names, but their boards of elections said that they could stay on the ballot because they clearly weren't trying to deceive the voters at all. Now, should they get elected, that's going to cause an issue. They both have lawyers working on it, but the law states that if you are caught with having changed your name, you have to be removed from office immediately and pay back all of your salary that you've made. So it's pretty major, to the point where I'm trying to get people to look into current elected officials, especially Republicans who have changed their names, and to see if they have if they listed their former names on the petitions. And if not, we might be able to get a bunch of Republicans out of office. Even the governor, Mike DeWine, his original name isn't Mike, and he's been in office forever, but who knows what he put on the petitions back when he ran. The law's been around since 1850s. So
wow,
it's an old law. But yeah, it's been there's the 2 trans women running. There's also a trans man, but he's running under his dead name because he hasn't legally changed his name yet. So.
And just real quick before we continue, I should have done this at the beginning. My name is Alec Gunter. My pronouns are he, him. And then if you two would like to share your name and pronouns real quick. Sorry about that.
I'm Luxander. I've been on YouTube for a while and I use they or it pronouns primarily. I'm here just as like, I guess I'm the trans expert interviewer here. I know Alec and I both cover these things frequently. But yeah, it's good to be here to actually have the conversation. I've covered it on my show, what happened to you, and like personally, I think it's pretty egregious. But anyway, go ahead, Vanessa.
I'm Vanessa. I go online by Vanessa, and I have a whole 345 YouTube subscribers. So yeah, I run a podcast. Well, it used to be a trans podcast. We're actually focusing more on just on humanity in general, called Transcending Humanity, and that has a whole 150 subscribers. So I am fucking winning at the internet with my reach. So yeah, but. Yeah, I am a 42-year-old trans woman living in Ohio, and it sucks.
Yeah, it's unfortunately not looking too good in Ohio right now for trans people. But this story, has it helped at all with your YouTube channel? I'm just curious.
Yeah, actually, a tiny bit. I would say I've
Okay.
gained maybe 50 subscribers.
50. Well, you got to bump those numbers up, guys. The Vanessa Dial's channel is in the title of the video right now, and I'll also put a link in the description of the YouTube video. So get in there right now if you haven't already. Go subscribe. From what I can tell so far, Vanessa's a very nice person who deserves way more attention than she's currently getting. So. To continue, I just want to point out that the only reason that I even know about Vanessa Dial here is because of Luxander, my good friend Luxander. Venestradiol. I am so sorry. Venestradiol. Got it.
Yeah.
Got it.
It's like the medication.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Estradiol is the estrogen that we inject ourselves with.
Gotcha.
And I just added on Vanessa because I'm Vanessa.
You're going to think I'm silly because I've always pronounced it estradiol. So
I
don't
think
know.
there's multiple ways of doing it, honestly.
Okay, but your name is Estradiol. Got it. Or Venestradiol.
Yeah, Venestradiol.
Venestradiol. I will
Yeah.
try. I will do my best. I'm not the
know.
best at names.
Just call me Vanessa.
Okay, Vanessa, that works. So, Alexander, you're the only reason that I even know about Vanessa, so thank you very much for that, even though I'm the one living in Ohio.
Yeah.
So I kind of
Pay
wanted...
attention.
Yeah, of course. I'm doing my best. I promise. But, yeah, I just wanted to thank you for that real quick. And to continue with the conversation, so it sounds like it was mainly the Democrats who were standing in your way. Is that correct, or...
Well, in the county, I mean, the Democrats could have stood up for me, but they decided not to. So, but like one of Bobby Arnold, one of the other candidates, the head of her board of elections is a Republican, and he's the one that said that she can stay on the ballot because she wasn't trying to deceive anybody. So, I have a feeling there's a bunch of shenanigans going on in the background that I'd never be able to prove, but you know what's going on. So,
Love that
Unfortunately.
Democratic Party.
yeah,
Yeah, it is quite unfortunate, for
they're
sure.
the lesser of evils.
Well, Vanessa, I wanted to know a little bit about you personally. So, do you mind just sharing a little bit about like your background and how you got into politics, and maybe a little bit about like your journey through being trans? Because I know everybody's different, so I'd be really interested to hear what you have to say about it.
So all the things then,
All the things.
yeah, I didn't come out till I was 40. I've known I was trans since I was about 5, but living in a Christian conservative family and then running that Christian conservative family's business up until 2019, I didn't really have much of an opportunity until my dad quite literally walked in front of a train and I didn't have to worry about his abuse anymore. So, I was able to come out after that. If I would have done it beforehand, he probably would have killed me. So,
Jeez.
yeah. But so I never really thought about getting into politics until this past October. I went to the Trans Ohio Symposium and just talking to people there, I'm like, you know what? We need some sort of change here. So, I mean, most of the bills coming out against trans people in Ohio are coming from the Ohio House. So I'm like, I'm gonna run for the Ohio House. People are like, well, you should just run for a school board or something like that. And while those elections are very important, don't get me wrong, I needed to go to a step up in order to actually make change right away, rather than kind of work my way up the line. So school board elections are arguably the most important elections to vote in. but I needed to go where I was needed. So, but I'm a mother. I hate being a parent, um, which is always interesting. I believe I'm autistic and trying to get screened for that, which is not easy. I'm a gamer. I have over 6,000 hours logged in Civilization 6. My YouTube channel actually was originally a Civ 6, pretty much a Civ 6 channel. Um, and love Baldur's Gate 3, just beat Divinity Origin Sin 2, Original Sin 2, and I'm not very good. I play everything on like story mode and basic mode, but at least I'm pretty, so.
There you go. Hey, there's nothing wrong with playing on story or basic mode. Seriously.
I just try to be I don't play games for distress. I play it just for relax. Like Civ 6 I play on DD, but with 6,000 hours logged, I should be playing on DD, so but yeah.
Okay. So it's just a normal person, it sounds like.
I'm trying to convince myself that I can switch Hades off. I've been trying to beat Hades. Like, I cannot beat the final guy, and I'm trying to convince myself that it's okay for me to switch it to God mode, but I'm just like, I just want to beat the goddamn game. It's so hard to let yourself play on easy mode sometimes. Like, everything else. But you're right. Like, I don't want to be stressed when I'm playing games. I'm trying to relax. Like, I'm trying to enjoy the story and everything, and it's like, I just get frustrated because I'm like, oh, I'm about to die again. Great.
Yeah,
reset once again.
that like I got to the very end because I was playing Divinity 2 on like the standard mode, but I got to the final boss, and the final boss of that game is like the difficulty level like spikes way over anything else. So I had to set it to story mode because I wanted to finish the game. So
So I have a question. So you've talked a bit about like your personal life and your interests. So I'm curious, how likely is it that you would have gotten into politics had you not been trans?
Probably 0%. I didn't even start voting until I turned 40, until I came out, really. So I was just kind of living your cishet white guy days through life. So it seems to be kind of a common theme in the trans community too. But yeah, I just didn't care because it was the average person, if it doesn't affect us, we don't really care that much until we find a reason to care. And there's so many different issues that, we gloss over because we only have so much brain power to do it. So trans rights were never on my radar, really, until this. And then I wasn't even going to run on trans rights, though, because that would not be popular in my district. I was going to run on providing universal childcare in Ohio. So, because that is needed. And I think that would get some moderate Republican support. Because childcare is ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous.
I feel like it's worth pointing out also the amount of brain power that is like sucked up by being in that situation where you know that you're trans and you're not able to come out. Like that drains so much of your battery that the normal amount of it's hard to care about things because your job is difficult and your kids or whatever. Like it's just, I can understand it being even more difficult for some folks, like to care at all.
Yeah, it sucks the life out of you.
Yeah, no kidding. I'm not even trans, and I am, I'm very sympathetic because I have a trans sibling, and my fiance is actually non-binary, and so like and she's a teacher too, so we're going through this as well. It's scary. It's very, very scary. So I guess I'm curious, like. For you, what personal challenges have you had dealing with like Ohio and everything going on with their legislation against trans people?
The legislation so far hasn't affected me personally too much just because it's mostly been against kids. Though there was that scary period where DeWine was trying to put out those new administrative rules, which could have made it so we would lose access to our hormones. And my body doesn't produce hormones naturally anymore because I had bottom surgery. So I need them to live. But on a less legislative level, my business died when I came out. I'm a real estate, I cannot talk. I'm a real estate photographer. And I used to be, before I came out, I was pretty slammed all the time. I was making about $50,000, $60,000 a year doing it. And when I came out, it just went, poof, just gone overnight. to the point where I had to run a GoFundMe just to afford my bills for a couple months. So, and I haven't really been able to rebuild it since. I have a kind of a loyal little client base, but I'm only making about $18,000 a year now. So, um, I've been job hunting for 2.5 years. I've sent out over 2,000 resumes, and it's fucking rough out there for trans people. So, um, it sucks.
Are you considering relocation?
Maybe, I mean, I have my kid, and while I'm a shitty parent, I don't want to be too far. So I'm kind of thinking if I move, I might move to Columbus. But I've been applying to some Ohio-based remote careers, um, so we'll just see. But I ideally would love to live in the Pacific Northwest. That's my goal,
Yeah, true.
because it's fucking amazing there. But I can't even think about moving until I have some income.
Mhm.
Yeah, unfortunately, income's a big issue all the way around.
Yeah, especially since my Facebook and Instagram just got demonetized because I didn't know that you can't talk about being a politician on there. So I no longer can post anything about my political career, so I can get monetized again.
I think that's because of the law that passed in Canada, because Facebook was not like adequately paying news sites who were posting their content on Facebook. So now it's just like any posts with a link to something political in Canada is restricted, which
That's annoying.
yeah, no, it's definitely annoying. I'm like, that's the only reason I can imagine why your content was demonetized that way.
They say that anybody that is a Gesundheit,
Thank you.
anybody
Sorry.
that is a running for office or actually in office can't be monetized due to just like election finance laws. So,
Hmm.
but I'm no longer a candidate, obviously. So I actually had to talk to Instagram support yesterday, and they said it'll be a few months and it'll eventually scroll off and I'll be monetized again. But I'm like, great, thank you.
Cool.
Okay. So what was the process like, becoming a politician? Sounds like a big undertaking.
It's lonely, because when you're just trying to collect signatures, no one wants to give you the time of day. And being trans in a red area, I couldn't exactly go door to door knocking. I did in my own little neighborhood here, but so I built up my signatures just from through social media, meeting people, and I had a couple of wonderful people that actually circulated some petitions for me, and so about a third of my signatures came from that. Um, which was nice, but it's lonely. Like I tried to get a hold of the Stark County Democrats, but they would, like, can you guys help with like a signing party or something like that? Nothing. So yeah, even the state Democrats, like I tried reaching out to them too, using connections to get the phone numbers of the people in charge. And even then, I couldn't get it through until the disqualification, and everybody was knocking at my door. So,
Well, there you go. That's
yeah.
one way to get attention, I guess.
Yeah, it certainly was. Certainly was.
Well, I'm a little curious. Have you had any interactions with any of the other candidates who were affected by this law? Because I know that like they had their cases dropped, but I was wondering if you've talked to any of them.
Yeah, we've become acquaintances. I chat with both of them here and there because we are all kind of thrown into the same boat. And I'm trying to work with Ohio legislation to to either alter the law or something to kind of help them because they're going to have to sue the state if they get elected in order to hold office. But I want to try to find a way to edit the law to because there's already an exclusion in the law for if you change your name through marriage, then it doesn't apply to you. So there's already a pretty major exclusion there.
The most common one, you might say.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm hoping to see one added where if revealing your former name puts you at risk for one way or another. So that could go for victims of domestic abuse, people in witness protection, who knows, trans people. because we wouldn't get it passed if we ran it around trans people, obviously, because Republicans suck. But I haven't really heard much on that, so pretty much everything is just a hurry up and wait thing, and then, excuse me, maybe I'll hear back from somebody, but probably not. So, but
That's so frustrating.
it is.
Well,
What are your
go
future
ahead.
plans? I'm curious. With like, are you gonna? Well, so because the DNC there in Ohio only wants to work with people who've already worked with them before, that says great things about the future of the party.
Mhm.
Are you considering like volunteering for other campaigns or running for, like you said earlier, like school board is obviously lower down, but since you aimed a little high and you weren't able to achieve that goal, are you still thinking about being involved, or are you just like, I need to pay my bills right now?
Well, right now I just need to pay my bills,
Sure.
but I if I ran again, I probably would run for another office like House or Senate, because technically I did make it. I had the signatures to do it.
Mhm.
It was just this random law that just tossed me aside. But I don't, I don't know if I'll run again or not. The future is so uncertain right now, especially, well, as you know, with Project 2025 and Agenda 47. If the Republicans take control in November, we're looking at concentration camps. So we're not going to be able to run for office. So
Mm.
we'll be second-class citizens instantly, as if we are what we already are. It's going to be even worse. So
I have to educate myself about Agenda 47.
that's Trump's one.
Okay, cool.
It's like his personal version of Project 2025.
Okay.
But both of them talk specifically about eradicating trans people. So, which is fun. It's so fun to wake up every day, as you know, not knowing if you're going to have the same rights that you had the day before. So,
Yeah,
Yeah.
I live in Kansas for comparative
Oh.
reference, so we just passed a bathroom bill that inadvertently also retroactively revoked every single gender marker change. It's not like they're going to take my birth certificate from me, but if I needed a new one, and when I get my driver's license renewed, it will be revoked, it'll be reverted back.
so annoying.
Despite ex post facto, I thought that this was whatever. Anyway, and yeah, like they're coming after trans youth hormones again. Like they did pass the bathroom bill, so I can't reliably safely use public restrooms. Not that I was keen on it before, but now there's
But
the threat of
still,
arrest. It's like
yeah.
it's elevated risk for sure.
Mhm.
And yeah, it's a really tough. I guess I'm curious, for you to speak on that. Like, how has this affected you personally in terms of like, being targeted for being trans and boxed out? Like, what kind of impact has that had on you in the midst of all this other stuff? Like, your business has been suffering for longer than you've been running for office, I assume.
Yeah. Everywhere I go, like I'll walk into Starbucks and there's a bunch of old white guys in there, and they stop talking and stare.
Mhm.
I've had people stop their cars, roll down their windows and stare. I've had people yell at me, mock me publicly. I've had people come into my social media, call me a pedophile. Which we all get that, but
And that doesn't get
it's
better when you become higher profile. Like, I assume that
no.
it's escalated somewhat since
I
you're more recognizable.
Yeah, I had to lock down my comments on my Facebook and Instagram for a couple months
Mhm.
after I was disqualified, just to cut down on that shit. But so, what are you gonna say,
I
Alec?
I was gonna say I get called that just for defending trans people, so I can't
Hmm.
even imagine actually being one. It's just insane. Uh, I don't know. I don't know what else to say about it. I feel so hard for it because, I just get just a taste of it, you know, and God, the absolute state of it is just tragic right now. And hopefully, what I'm hoping is that this is just like the last stand of a dying party.
I think it
And
is.
yeah, that's like the kind of light in the dark right now is that
Hmm.
they got nothing else.
No.
I mean, do you feel similarly about that?
Yeah, I mean, I've been saying that the next 5 years will be a shit show, and then after that, I think things will start picking up. But I actually have decently high hopes for November, just because the Republicans have just doubled down way too much on stuff that isn't popular, and we're starting to see things like in Florida starting to fail. Um, and when you go after women or anybody with a uterus, that's 51% of the population. That's just stupid. And um, I think that a lot of Republicans are going to get voted out, and I really think that I think Ohio might actually start to flip purple on the government level, because we already are purple. We're actually, if you look at the stats, there are more registered Democrats in Ohio than there are registered Republicans. But the problem is,
Gerrymandering.
yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, there's the gerrymandering, which is beyond horrible, which
Yeah.
they're working on. To my district was like, if you zoom in, there's individual houses cut out of it. And the current rep, Reggie Stoltzfus, there's like the district goes along the highway to kind of get to his house and cut it out so he can be in the district. And
That's embarrassing.
it
That's
really
deeply
is.
embarrassing.
It
I'm gonna make all the
really is.
rules. I win.
Yeah. But yeah, there's more registered Democrats than Republicans. But the problem is people don't show up and vote. So,
True.
and I'm guilty of that too. In the past, I didn't vote before, but now I'm just like, just get out there and just do it.
On that note, do you think, like, what are your thoughts now as someone who used to be a really apathetic voter and now you're obviously very motivated? Like, do you think that there's any kind of tacts we should be using to reach the kind of non-voter that you used to be? Like, obviously, you know, so much of this is reliant on interpersonal relationships and like knowing someone who's directly affected. Do you think that there's any kind of argumentation or persuasive direction that we can take to try to galvanize those people? I mean, I guess you were running on that platform of childcare, so maybe we just need to continue targeting those kind of broader appeal things.
Yeah, things that people actually care about. Like, I don't think a lot of people actually pay attention to politics and or anything. Like, Republicans just vote Republican because they vote Republican. And they're not paying attention to what's actually going on. Like the fact that the Ohio House just had its least productive year since the 1950s. The federal House had the least productive year ever. But they're not necessarily paying attention. They just go out and they vote the way that they always have. So yeah, putting out calls to action to actually have things that they care about. Like, there's so much disinformation coming from the other side that it's hard to reach people, honestly. And the algorithms work so strongly against us. Like, as you know, being trans on the internet, anything you post just dies without a whole lot of help or without money. But like having Project 2025 dissected and find things that affect, you know, different groups of people, you know, even cishet white guys, if they're atheist or not Christian, if we're looking at a theocracy, they're going to lose their rights too. So the way that this is looking is the only people that are going to be full-on citizens are going to be cishet white male Christians. Everybody else is just going to be, you know, cattle for the slaughter. So,
Well, and it affects us too, because I was on testosterone replacement therapy for a while. And so if I can't get access to that as easily, if they make me jump through all these extra hurdles, all it took for me was a phone call, an appointment, and a lab draw. That's it. And then I had my tea. That's it. And if it takes anything more than that for other people, that's called discrimination. And eventually, that's point one. And point two is they're going to come for me too. They're going to say, no, you can't get on TRT because that's unnatural or whatever. You know, it's against God's will. And now we're a Christian theocracy. So no thanks. We don't like science and medicine, actually. Goodbye. So, you know, that's the way it is. And that's the way that they want it. So
we need to take away Viagra because that's gender affirming care.
Yep.
You know, if they're going to ban it, ban it.
It's God's will that you can't get it up. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, exactly.
You can never have sex again. Well, you can. You just got to get more creative. Read the book Fucking Trans Women. It's great. Plug for a book I've never read.
That's all good. Here's a question for you. So I guess I'm just curious about like your future. I don't think you've talked yet about your future plans, any kind of aspirations that you have. If you plan to continue politics, anything in that regard?
It's all up in the air. My first goal is to get a job so I have some income.
Right. You mentioned that.
I don't know if I'm going to be able to stay in the country or flee the country. I don't know if I can stay in Ohio or flee Ohio. And so I'm trying not to plan too far ahead because it's kind of impossible. So I'm kind of going a step at a time. Would I run for office again? Maybe. Would it be in Ohio? I don't know. And but I'm trying to make impacts other ways at least. I have my little podcast that I wish was bigger than a little podcast, um but kind of just, working my way in. And I've been applying for roles I just got turned down for a role at Red Wine and Blue. I made it to the end of the interviews, but they had someone's just a little bit better. So, but applied to Equality Ohio, stuff like that, where places I can try to make a difference somehow.
Absolutely. All right.
For my part, I just want to say, like, I have also been questioning, like, am I going to move? Like, where am I going to move to? Climate change as well as like another consideration for me. Like, I live in Kansas and I love being from here, but like, it's going to get hotter and hotter, and I have a medical overheating problem, and I can't legally use bathrooms in public. So like, I kind of have
What
to.
do you do?
And like, my personal opinion is that, it's not just the United States. We're seeing this increasing dramatic
Everywhere?
rhetoric everywhere. Yeah, like worldwide, like, over in Europe, it's kicking up. Like, even in Germany, you have increasing anti-trans like sentiment, and like even in Canada, I've seen
Yeah, it's getting
like,
bad fast.
yeah, homophobic and transphobic hate crimes in British Columbia, which everybody's like, oh, that's where you need to move. Come to
Mhm.
Vancouver, and it's like, okay, well, it's like not necessarily better there in that
Yeah.
regard. So my personal opinion is I would rather live in like Oregon or Washington and have a gun, like,
Mhm.
and a community of a lot of other trans people around me. Like, it's so isolated. And
Yeah.
there are places in Kansas and in the Midwest, and I'm sure in Ohio, that are like progressive. Cities tend to be that way. They cluster around a little bit, but like, it feels so bad to be like an island in the midst of, like, you step 1 foot outside of your little progressive bubble, and suddenly you're coming in contact with people with thick Southern accents, and you're like,
Mhm.
oh no. So that's just for my 2 cents for anybody watching this who's like going through these same motions of consideration. Like, what is the plan? Like, sanctuary states, or I guess safe haven states, whatever the preferred nomenclature is, like Minnesota and I think Oregon and Washington both, maybe California, like, for trans safety, those are going to be the
Mhm.
places. And finding out where other trans people live, and like making a point to establish community and make friends
Yeah.
and make allies and get to know your neighbors and everything. You might even find some people you end up changing their mind on the way, because getting to know your neighbors might involve getting to know some like people who normally might be pretty indifferent to trans people.
Mhm.
And yeah, making those connections is going to be really important, I think, for our survival going forward. So, like you said, it was so isolating going through that political process. It almost seems like in order to build community, that's like objectively not the way to go, because
Yeah.
just the process of getting in there is so isolating.
No, I mean, Pacific Northwest is where, if I stay in the States, it's where I'd want to go.
Mm.
Or Norway,
Yeah.
Sweden, Norway. Those are good places for us. But
And they'll give you healthcare because you've already had bottom surgery. Like,
exactly.
they're going to be like, oh, you need the hormones. We don't need to go through the whole National Health Service scrutinization process. So
I mean, ideally,
that.
I'd move to Iceland, but they're smart. They don't allow Americans to expatriate there unless you're independently wealthy. So,
Okay.
but like, I can't blame them. That's a small island. They don't need more Americans.
Certainly
fair.
not. I don't think anybody needs more Americans.
No.
But anyway, we are closing in on an hour here. What I do want to, I do want to reach out to chat real quick. If you guys have any questions at all for the lovely Vanessa Joy here, please feel free to throw them into the chat, and then I'll go ahead and read them out. One more question from me. How do you feel that, like, the average person, like somebody watching right now, can help with this situation on their own? Like, what's something that they can do, like now or tomorrow, or maybe like within the coming weeks, to, help with the situation and push back against all this rampant transphobia on either a, local, state, or even national level?
Share our content and don't talk over us. It's because when we put out content, the algorithms automatically suppress it on all the platforms. But if they're starting to be shared by cis people, that really brings out our reach. It shows that you support us, support what we have to say, And but also, as I said, don't talk over us. Trans rights are perfectly fine to be talked about by allies, but if there's a trans person in a room, the trans person should be the first person talking about it. And that goes for any demographic, but yeah, just elevate our voices because that's what we need. You don't have to spend money unless you send my Patreon for my podcast money, then I don't complain about that. But yeah, you don't have to spend money, just share. That's how you be an ally, is to step up, and because you will put yourself at risk by supporting us. You will get hate. You will have people try to come after you too. You will get the same death threats that we will, but that we do. But doing so, you're showing your humanity and that you're living beyond a bubble. So,
All right, excellent. Anything to add, Alexander? What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, in these situations where you have the opportunity to contact legislators, like the more people do that, the better. I know that that's something that you galvanize people toward, Alec, is just like, hey, let me point you here. Here's the phone number. Call them. Do it now. Here's a script.
That's right, baby.
Yeah. I've used ResistBot before to like automatically send faxes and emails through, if you don't know the numbers, if you don't want to like take the time to research every independent person's phone number, but there's all kinds of different stuff that you could get involved with in that regard. You can also like volunteer for campaigns to phone bank. Progressive Victory is a sort of nonprofit that I'm associated with that like a ton of Destiny fans for some reason are involved with it, and they phone bank. And we've successfully changed things, like in Wisconsin, I think it was the Supreme Court. There was an issue of like who's going to get appointed, and we helped get the Democratic woman appointed to protect abortion rights there. Yeah, so like as much as I am now kind of growing away from the idea of electoralism, that is still the system we live in. And so that's like one of the areas that you can make the strongest impact, as well as continuing to protest and be mindful of community health and awareness. Like, be wearing a mask in public, like think little things that you can help ripple out and change things for the better. So just being mindful of, what are some areas that you could be more helpful? Do you have enough money to contribute to a GoFundMe of someone who's trying to escape? Do you have a couch that someone could crash on as they're traveling to a place that's safer? Yeah. Another organization that I help with is rainbowpassage.org. And that is what they do. Not Rainbow Railroad. That's a different thing. It's about getting people within the United States to places that are safe. So if you can donate to any of those causes, if you have any skills that you could volunteer to help get people to safer places, we try to work on making places safer, and also recognize that, like, I don't want to stay in Kansas. Maybe you don't want to stay in Ohio because it's getting worse and worse. Yeah, it's not like yeah. But we don't always have the option to get away.
Yeah.
So it's, either we have to work here and make things better. Trans kids are still going to be born in Kansas and Ohio, even if we leave. But at the same time, recognizing that our physical safety can be on the line. So anything you can do to help minimize any of those harms,
it's big.
It's big. Yeah. Think outside the box. Just get active and motivated in your communities really is the big thing.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And I try to tell people to stay updated with their local politics. It's something that I'm still working on myself. I started picking up the newspaper, but I just stopped doing it because I'm in such a routine. So I understand how hard it is to do that. But if you can stay involved in your local politics and go to these school board meetings and go to these city council meetings, and, I went to that state meeting, the Ohio State, or what is it called? The Board of Elections, or the Board of Elections, the school board, Board of Education, sorry. And I spoke there, and that can make a huge impact, guys, especially if you're cis, all right? Especially if you're a cis man, of course, cis woman, doesn't matter. Like, cis allies are just so important. So optically, it helps so much. So if you guys can get out there, anything that you can do to help, I'm sure it would be greatly appreciated by the trans community at large, and certainly by people like Vanessa Joy, who was directly impacted by archaic laws that were apparently specifically crafted against trans people, or at least used against them.
They weren't. They're used against us. They were not crafted against us.
It almost
so-
seems like
Yeah.
it was,
It
though.
feels like it, but trans people weren't on the radar back in the 1850s. So, but the law was designed to keep people from changing their names and running under for nefarious purposes. But nowadays, changing your name is not easy. You have to go through the courts, you have to go through background checks, all kinds of stuff. So really, the law at this point isn't really necessary. It's designed to protect creditors. That's why it's there, because money.
Yep.
That's another thing that people should be maybe put on their radar is like there are still like, for example, anti-sodomy laws in various places. And we think, oh, whatever, nobody enforces those anymore. Well, guess what? If they're on the books, all it takes is someone being really sour
Mhm.
and deciding to like enforce those laws. Like this law that rarely gets enforced that took you off the ballot, like it can still be weaponized, even
Yeah.
if we think, oh, it's archaic and nobody cares. Most people didn't even know about this law. Like the Democratic Party themselves didn't even know about this law.
Mhm.
It's not on the form to put your previous name. So there was reasonably no way for anybody to know. And yet it still has impacted Ohio politics by
Yeah.
just depriving this county of having a Democrat running. Of course, what was the new person running? His name?
His Doremus Redvine.
Dormus Redvine. Okay, so there is a
Yeah.
write-in candidate. So if you live in Stark County, like support that guy. But yeah, pay attention to those laws because just because they're not being enforced doesn't mean that they're not enforceable.
Yeah. And don't go to Chick-fil-A.
No.
Nah, I stopped going there.
Fuck that place.
They're not
Bojangles is where it's at. Bojangles is so good.
Ooh.
Their chicken sandwiches ain't even that good. Like, it's not worth, like, go to KFC or something. Go anywhere else. Like
Wendy's
not-
has a good chicken sandwich. So
Seriously. All right. Well, I think this was a great conversation. Is there anything else you guys would like to add before you give your closing statements and shout yourselves out?
just
Unless there's something in chat.
follow Aaron Reed if you're curious on trans
True.
news. Follow Aaron Reed, ERINREED. And if you support anybody financially, send her $5 a month because she does so much good for our community. I got to talk with her and Zoe Zephyr on the phone, and I totally fangirled when I did that. So, but yeah, just support people that need support.
Absolutely. Alexander, you want to go ahead and close out, and then I'll.
Yeah. I mean, I hope that more people care about these issues, like more and more involvement I'm hoping for. The more we can spread our political message, the more awareness we have. So, yeah, I guess unless there's any commentary or questions from chat, then that's mostly it for me.
I have
Subscribe to
a
Alexander.
Subscribe to Alexander. Subscribe to
Venestradiol.
Venestradiol.
Or Transcending Humanity. That's the podcast. I want to add one thing to follow up on what Alexander said. They're starting with the trans community, but they're not going to end with us.
Mhm.
We're the test group. The Nazis did the exact same thing. We are in the middle of a genocide. I don't use that word lightly. We are in the middle of a genocide. Look up the 10 stages of genocide. You'll see we're in 6 and 7 right now. And 8 and 9 are the ones where they start killing us. But they're not going to stop with us at all. We're a test group because we're small. So unless they're stopped now, they're going to keep going with more and more groups. So.
And I just want to point out, I want to give a small shout out to Neko Suris. I don't know them personally or him personally because I don't know. I just have never interacted with him, but I watch his videos all the time, and he just did a great video about there's only one out of all of the stages of the genocide that we have not hit yet. Like they're
It's
already
the
denying
denial
it.
one. Oh, I guess they are already denying it.
I mean, they're doing everything short of actually outwardly putting trans people in camps.
Mm-hmm.
Like we are in the midst of a genocide, guys, and if you don't believe that we are, I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah.
You know, we're certainly in the middle of something. So even if you think it's not a genocide, I would encourage you to be vigilant. You know, they're not going to stop at trans people, just like Vanessa said. They'll take away my testosterone. They'll take away your medications next. They'll do all kinds of things. Thank you very much, Vanessa, for all your insight on this. And Alexander, you as well. You guys have been so wonderful today, and it was great having you.
It was nice to meet you both.
Yeah, it was great talking to you guys. Thanks so much for coming on today. Just once again, I'm bad at closing things out, but
I am too.
Thanks for having us.
yeah, absolutely.
Thank you.
Well, I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your day. And Alexander, I don't know if you're live or not, but if you are, I hope the rest of you're not okay.
No, I didn't even know that this was going to be live. I knew we were going to record.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I should have specified that.
It's all good.
But anyway, thank you guys so much again for being here. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day and a wonderful weekend.
You too.
Good luck on stream.
Thank you. Take care, guys.
Recording stopped.
Alrighty. Sorry, I should not have assumed that they would know that we'd be live. One second. All right. I could have sworn that I said something about being live, and I just totally missed it. Content is content. Yeah, I guess. I just feel bad because, you know, like somebody once was like recording gameplay while I was like, somebody was once like recording me while I was playing a game and I had no clue about it. So, and it was like a friend of mine. So, and I was upset and I wouldn't want to do that to anybody else. So that's all. But yeah, I thought that was a really fun conversation. It was great. All right. She got a one-piece hat. I love my one-piece hat. It's great. It's great, isn't it? All right, let me close out all this stuff. All right. I'm going to take a brief intermission, go say hi to my fiance who just walked in. Oh yeah, I've seen this. Thank you for linking this.
You know what real oppression looks like? A guy having a hard time finding pussy. Open the womb!
I've seen that guy. He said something about me in this video, didn't he? He's forcing me to log in. All right. All right, you guys enjoy the music. I will be back momentarily.
Happen to kill a red spy on the way here?
All right. I'm sorry, Oxpecker. I read that as soon as I went mute. I don't even know if I'm allowed to play that song. Yeah, I'm gonna skip this one. Remove that. All right. Sorry, Oxpecker. I read that and I was like, oh shit, that's the guy. Yeah, we'll take a look at this real quick. That's him. That's the guy. He did the thing. Okay. What do we got here? What is this? What is this? What is this?
You know
A
what?
fan-made
Real
video?
expression looks like a guy
What?
having a hard time finding pussy.
Sorry, it's probably playing double.
Means that it's more difficult for me to just attract people.
It's a very specific struggle, unique to being of my sex.
Well, my gender, because I only believe there's
This is
two of those.
trippy.
Real scholar, even though
This is done in the style of like a right-wing video. I'm not gonna lie.
The scholars have differentiated those two words already. I don't think they should have. Therefore, that means that they apparently didn't.
Y'all wouldn't understand my unique struggle. There's nothing that y'all go through that is a unique situation to you, because Gloria Steinem said words one time. So sexism is over!
We did it!
Except for when it happens to
True.
me. I'm definitely a victim. Any different demographic who says that they're a victim, they're just pretending to be victims and looking for attention. Everybody knows that anyone else who has a sense of
my camera's
style
off.
and is talking shit about something that I believe in, that's just somebody trying really hard to be edgy. They're a desperate edgelord. But when I do it, and it's hip and cool because reasons.
True. Good video. Good job. All right, what's next on the docket? We got to watch an anti-voting video.
I need to.
Who's Bad Mouse? I know I've heard of them. Whatever. We ball. Fuck it, we ball. So here in the United States, we love our freedom. We love our democracy. We love all that good stuff, right? Not well. Here, hold on. Let me start over. I feel like my microphone is still not where it should be. Okay, I think that's better. All right, so here in the United States, we love voting. We love freedom. We love our right to get out there and make our voices heard, right? Freedom of speech, freedom to vote, all that good stuff. Except not everybody does, apparently. Bad Mouse here, who I've heard of, I know I've heard of this person. I just am blanking on where I've heard of them and why. But they have an interesting video called Voting is Silly and Here's Why. Now, I personally don't think that voting is silly. I think that a lot of the structures surrounding voting are quite silly, such as gerrymandering, the electoral, whatever it's called, you know, the points system. You know, you get the most points, you win, as opposed to actual votes, which we can just, you know, tally up and, you know, the popular vote, if you will. All that being said, I still think that voting is an important thing to do. And especially this year, where a lot of people's rights are on the ballot, you know, just straight up. But Bad Mouse disagrees. So I'm going to give Bad Mouse a chance here to explain to me why voting is silly and why I shouldn't vote. Now, before I start the video, I do want to say one thing real quick. Let me bring the full screen here. I have been very harsh against people who have chosen that they are not going to vote. Part of me wants to apologize for that, because I understand that there's a lot going on right now, especially with Palestine, that would drive somebody to not vote. And I want to focus my rhetoric and my energy on people who are convincing actively others to not vote. That's my goal. If you personally aren't voting, just like if you're a leftist and you're personally not voting, I'm not sure if there's anything I can say to convince you out of that. I don't hate you. I just wish that I could convince you. That's all. But as for people like Bad Mouse here who are actively, you know, with, what is it, 68K views, 16K views, my bad, 68K subscribers about, actively convincing people that they shouldn't vote, that's my main problem, okay? That's where I want to draw the line. So with that being said, like I said, we're going to give Bad Mouse a chance here. Maybe they'll change my mind, I'm not sure, but I doubt it. So without further ado, let's go ahead and start the video.
You know that line that we often tend to tell ourselves about how I need to get my life together before I start doing X? X could in this case be traveling, learning a new skill, a hobby, a relationship, or just taking a leap and fulfilling your goals. Then years go by, your life still isn't together, and you hopefully realize by now that it's by taking that...
Okay, so where we're going with this already is we've been voting forever and nothing's changed. And that's not even true. Many things have changed. But I'll give them a chance to say it before I go into further detail.
Leap in doing such things that we can actually develop the experience to get our lives together. Well, oddly enough, I think that this is the same kind of logic that many of us take when it comes to electoral politics.
Voting is the minimum that you can do. It's not like voting is going to completely change everything. I never made that argument, and I never would. But it is like the smallest action that you can take to affect change. And I think that's important. You know, if I can't count on you to vote for the best candidate, then what can I count on you for? It's not that hard. For most people, I should say. For plenty of people, it is. And that's a result of conservatives trying to take away your right to vote, which they wouldn't be doing, by the way, if voting weren't very important. I'm just pointing that out.
A few caveats before we begin. This video is coming from a socialist perspective, and it's designed for socialists, which means that as broadly as possible, you would agree with something along the lines of this sentiment.
Okay, I'm close enough to one of those.
Just that you feel that electoral politics still holds a significant precedent. And if you are more liberal or conservative, then feel free to come along as well. Just be aware that if you have faith in capitalism and liberalism, then none of my points are going to convince you.
Here, I want to read all these.
Capitalism and
communism, no food. True. The best system, though. True. Economic calculation problem. Human nature. Graph goes up. Risk. It's all true.
Liberalism, then
I believe
none
all
of my
those
points
things
are going to convince you.
Better to vote for 90%
Just vote.
Hitler to make sure 100%
It's only
Hitler
20
doesn't get
minutes
the power.
out
Correct.
of your day. Let me clarify. Voting is not really the problem. The
Okay.
problem is electoralism, to which I am defining in this video as that particular systemic hell which essentializes the status quo and prioritizes political energy being pushed into working within the system to achieve democratic ends.
Okay, but our representatives are the people who actually make and enforce the laws. So if you can get in a representative who is progressive, they're going to do everything in their power to push progressive policies, and that's a good thing. You should be pushing for more of that.
When it functions like this, it's very
But my point being, it's good to put political energy into that.
important that we start remembering that your individual vote has literally zero power.
No, bullshit. I completely and utterly disagree with this. My vote, in fact, is the most important vote. You know why? Because it's mine. Motherfucker, I'm a very important person, so whoever I vote for should win automatically.
Because this isn't an office meeting where there's like 10 people and we all confer and discuss. We're talking about potentially thousands, if not millions, of very different people.
And each election is won one vote at a time. Okay? One vote at a time. The conglomerate of all those people voting is what matters. And they're
It's
all
all
individual
well and
votes.
good you telling me just vote, but that's never how it really works. In order
Okay,
for a
I'm
candidate,
listening.
or a party for that matter, to be even remotely within a chance of winning, it's not the singular votes that matter, but rather the voting blocks made up of specific demographics that can be galvanized to vote for you. Now, doing it alone won't work. You do not have enough people power to do it. So, parties
Okay.
hire a team to do research on the best places to outreach, to canvass potential voters, to create communication materials, and so forth. Any look around at media bias will tell you that when people are given a greater spotlight on one side of an issue, they will be more influenced by that than another. Well, the same is true of electoral politics. More input from your chosen side will tip the odds and increase the chances of you winning.
True.
It goes without saying that all of this requires money and labor. Before long, it isn't just a simple act of voting, it's a whole electoral machine.
Okay, but right now that machine is weaponized against us. And so if you can take the levers of that machine and start controlling it, even just little by little, that's a good thing. Okay, that is a good investment to make. All right? Ultimately, we want people in power who are going to advocate for our rights. That's what we should strive for. And you're not going to do that by convincing people not to vote.
After a while, the sheer scale of this,
Also, I want to point out these gears don't line up, and that's bothering me very much.
it's a whole electoral machine. After a while, the sheer
That wouldn't work.
scale of this might
The gears on the big wheel were too big.
make you wonder,
For the
how
little
much
knobs.
is all of this worth to me? How much time do I want to separate from radical activities?
What?
How many millions?
Dog. No, it's voting. No, okay, hold on. I'm confused now because I'm not sure if this person's talking about like individuals voting or like machines, not machines, like organizations putting together like resources to get a candidate into office. Because it sounds like it's the latter, but at the same time, it seems like this person is still trying to convince individuals that voting is not worth your time. You know what I mean? Voting takes like an hour tops. I know, yeah, exactly. Well, unless you're in like Texas, you know, and you're black, then probably way longer than that, but I digress.
Is that going to be? Money that is no longer
By which I mean they actively discriminate against black people.
being used to build anything, with no further education as to the
In black
enormity
neighborhoods.
of electoral contradictions, and leaving a left largely blindsided, with no capable avenue left until the same thing comes around in a few years. Are there not other avenues
Wait.
whereby
I'm gonna go over that again.
actions and leave no further money that is no longer being used to build anything, with no further education
You're putting someone
as to
in
the
power.
enormity of electoral contradictions, and leaving a left largely blindsided, with no capable avenue left until the same thing comes around in a few years.
A lot of that money and a lot of that time and energy and those resources go toward educating people on their rights and on the things that they deserve, you know, and educating them like, oh, here's like some basic needs that you aren't having fulfilled that we will fulfill for you. That is good work. That's outreach. That's education. That's pulling people towards your side. There's nothing wrong with that. In fact, that's good.
Are there not other avenues whereby this time and money can be better spent?
So even if you have a socialist candidate who loses, all of those people, all of that time and money and effort you spent was going toward educating other people about your candidate and why that candidate's good, okay? And a lot of people could have been like pulled over from that, and that builds up over time. It becomes an aggregate, okay? So it's still good.
Spent. I've seen for myself just how much more militant and active smaller direct action groups can be for their size and funding. Even just a dozen or so members. They're not constrained by legalistic jingo or electoral tradition. Sky's the limit. Imagine.
And what do they accomplish?
What if
yeah,
that
imagine
energy
if they were.
would have put it
Imagine if they were bigger, okay? But they're not. So, what's the plan here?
into electoralism, you could instead use to build a base of people around a shared idea, to build further actions. You could use that money to buy cheap spaces and better ferment that base. Right there, you're...
Okay, but then what you're forfeiting is all of the people above you. So what if you build all of that housing only to have a Republican win office and say, well, you have to tear it all down now. You have to tear all that housing down now. It's zoning laws. You can't have two windows on the front of your house. That is, you see your stairs are not 10 centimeters long. They're supposed to be 9. Like, they can give any number of bullshit reasons to just burn it all. Okay, that's what you're forfeiting.
You're creating community power structures that can compete against
Everything
the
you've built,
existing establishment. At the very least, this creates a voting bloc that politicians will be scrambling towards to get elected. In the event of getting cracked down upon, such groups will always offer some kind of significant result. New skill.
Hold on. 1 second.
Bloc that politicians will be scrambling towards to get...
At the very least, this creates a voting bloc the politicians will be scrambling towards to get elected. In the event of getting... Oh, okay, so he said... Okay, so he directly answered what I just said. Very good. So, if it gets cracked down on... I don't know. I guess that's a pretty good point, right? Yeah, I mean, if all these people lose their housing and then... Although they could just blame it on something else, like they always do, right? Like, people who are not able to afford their groceries are not looking at the... Like, a lot of them are not looking at the Republicans. They're looking at Democrats because the Republicans are lying to them to their faces. So a Republican can get into office and, tear down all these houses and say, well, you see, it's because the Democrats actually built bad houses. They were bad houses, you see. And they'll just lie because that's what they do, And so you still would need resources and money to then go after those people and educate them on, no, it wasn't the Democrats that did that. It was the Republicans. The houses were destroyed by wokeness. So you'd still be using money and time and resources educating those people. It's the same process.
Get elected. In the event of getting cracked down upon, such groups will always offer some kind of significant result. New skills, infrastructure, contacts, legacy, and real-life on-the-ground recognition from the broader community.
Unless they don't.
These groups are in the business of changing minds.
A lot of people don't... Like, okay, if you're poor and you get public housing, right? Let's say that you get public housing. And then some dirty politician comes in and takes that away from you. A lot of the time, they're not looking at, okay, which politician is in office and how do I, figure out like why this is happening. They are not going to do any of that. They're just going to gobble up whatever they see on Fox News, okay? Because that's the most popular news media broadcasting show in the entire country. So, unless you think you can outdo Fox News in that regard, this is going to end up the same thing.
And empowering people. Not playing goody two-shoes to the opinions that get the most votes. At the end of the day, you're creating a base. One that distributes power and autonomy away from the...
By the way, I still advocate for doing this stuff. I'm not saying this is bad to do. I'm just saying you can do this along with the outreach for candidates who will actually protect this shit and propagate it. Okay? Imagine how much easier this would be to do if you got funding from a progressive politician, as opposed to a Republican politician who's going to use all their money to push back against it. Think about that.
Consolidation of bureaucrats. and one that is constantly educating people towards alternatives, something that electoralism is inherently hostile to by its very nature. To do so would damage the structure.
That's not by its very nature. No, that's bullshit. No, you have to substantiate that. That's a bullshit statement. It's not in the very nature of electoralism to what did he say exactly?
And one that is constantly educating people towards alternatives, something that electoralism is inherently hostile to by its very nature. To do so would damage the structures that allow it to succeed.
Whatever you think about it.
Allow it to succeed? Allow electoralism to succeed? But electoralism is good. I want electoralism to succeed. What? Okay, that seems nonsensical to me.
If you don't vote, you can't complain, does not cut it. If you want to be consistent about this, it's if you don't campaign, then you can't complain.
It also rhymes. If you don't campaign, you can't... I don't know. I've always kind of been mixed feelings on the first statement. I think that you still have the right to complain about your conditions even if you don't vote. I don't want to, like, put that on individuals. If you don't campaign, you can't complain. I don't like that either, because then that means that, like, you're telling people, well, you didn't campaign, so you don't have any right to complain about what's going on in our world today, because you didn't do the work. You didn't put in the work, sweaty, right? I don't like that either. Even if it does rhyme, it's very catchy, okay? I'm not going to take that away from you, but I still don't like it.
Because it's not the individual votes that get someone elected, it's the mass campaign that gathers enough of those blocks on a scale for your candidate
comprised
to even
of
remotely...
comprised of... What are the blocks comprised of? I'm listening. Anyone? In chat, would we like to help out? What are here, we'll play it one more time just so you know. It's the mass campaign that gathers enough of those blocks on a scale.
Right. Because it's not the individual votes that get someone elected, it's the mass campaign that gathers enough of those blocks on a scale for your candidate to even remotely stand a chance.
And what are those blocks comprised of? Chat, anybody? Come on. I'm trying to do a little chat participation here. Come on, help me out, guys. I feel like Katie now in school. Anyone at all? That's okay. They're comprised of individuals. Guys, the blocks are comprised of individuals. So, you still have to do individual outreach in order to make those blocks fall in your favor. Okay? Nothing changes.
And the more support that campaign has, the better chance of winning.
I also want to point out that there are already, like, huge organizations, the DNC and the GOP, right? Who are... Do I get a sticker for good participation? I didn't see your participation. Do I get a star sticker? But anyway, what was I saying? I forget already. It's fine.
The lesser of two evils.
Oh, I remember what I was saying. At the end of the day, it's still the same shit, okay? And also, like... Oh god, I thought that was a bug on my screen. Oh, I'm so ADHD, I'm sorry. That's so mean. But anyway. Forget it. I'm just gonna let the video play. I'm so brain soupy right now.
Ah, the classic, otherwise known as the vote for
That's so mean! That bug was so mean!
Well, once more, your individual vote has little relevancy.
This is anti-react.
If you look throughout history, it's less about
oppression.
who exactly is in charge, so much as it is the interconnected dynamic of public legitimacy and the ability for a state to respond. The Democrats seemed pretty forward-thinking during their New Great Deal Society period, didn't they? And they were, for the most part, heads of both houses. But what were the circumstances involved?
Okay. An economy on the brink, then post-war practicalities, and finally a surge of disenfranchised people who now wanted their check. Together you have the perfect mixing pot for societal change. This is what's always...
Yes, and this is a matter of who you can pressure. You can pressure the Democrats to do this stuff. You cannot pressure the Republicans. They won't do it. They won't.
Ignored when it comes to the electoral question.
Democrats do, to some extent.
External factors are sidelined. The main driver is who's in charge.
My country also had a post-war forward-thinking person in government who's well known for implementing progressive reforms. But most of those ideas, for the most part, were shared across parties due to a variety of pre- and post-war factors. Nor were they challenged by the opposition. It took a recession to change that.
But it's a matter of who's going to do what. Because if you have a Republican in office, they're simply not going to do the same thing that a Democrat does. A Republican is not going to allow women to get abortions. It's not going to happen. Okay? It's not going to happen. They've proven that. They overturned Roe v. Wade. Okay? They talk about like states' rights for abortion because they're too much of pussies to just stand on their laurels. Is that the statement? But anyway, sorry, Democrats are better.
A side point. Whilst the Attlee government was implementing these reforms, themselves kick-started through imperial plunder, they were also crushing striking workers. The so-called spirit
and that
of
shit's
45
gonna happen.
is very much a success.
But I'd rather have one without the other than not have either.
Propaganda from the day that's been taken and inflated amongst trade unions and establishment lefties since then. The idea of old Labour being progressive is not all what it really appears, and it's something that has continued into the...
I wonder what this person thinks about ranked choice voting. Like all these anti-electoralism people, what do you guys think they think about ranked choice voting? Like, would that change their mind? Because I have a little bit more respect for them if that would change their mind. Because I agree that it needs to be ranked choice. Because that would solve so many of these problems. You know? I don't know.
The present day. I really wish run-of-the-mill lefties would stop romanticizing old Labour. In the UK, we all like to talk about Thatcher this and Tories
I don't know much about
that.
the
It's
UK.
basically become a national
I know this
pastime,
one.
especially in Liverpool. But if you look at all the events leading up to the winter of 78, which led to her succession, neoliberalism, or something thereof, was always going to happen, be it red or blue who instigated it first. The structures innate to society were far beyond anybody's control at that point, that a vote here or there would have solved it.
Okay, would you rather it happen like faster and more intensely? You know, like would you rather have people in there that you can actually convince, hey, maybe we shouldn't do this thing, or maybe we should do this thing? You know, it's about who's easiest to convince, basically. And a Republican, or in this case the Tories, are not the easiest to convince.
If it saved us a year or two before the overflow, fine. But is that really where your energy is focused? Especially if it doesn't lead to anything. And then, of course, we see the swing back. The Tories had become unpopular by the 1990s due to a set of circumstances. And as such, the Reds got it again. Seems to me that after some time, it doesn't really matter whether you vote for one side or the other, because it's basically just a game of political seesaw. It's not...
Okay, if you believe that, then let Trump win. We'll see what happens.
Not to say that history is
No thanks.
deterministic, but the
I'll take
change
Biden,
doesn't
thanks.
occur at the electoral level. It's always driven by much larger factors. Gay marriage, the Renters Reform Bill, and even Acorn UK all came about, or were funded by, initiatives from a Tory government. Now, was that progressive leadership? Or was that
I
just
don't know
simply
anything
the
about
flow
that.
of
I can't
societal
comment.
change at the time? In my country, the Tories have had it for 12 years. Sorry, 14
Usually when they say,
15 years. And now, for some reason, even without the support of a very strong socialist voting bloc, the opposition has
usually when they say something happened under like if they say something progressive happened under a Republican, or something not progressive happened under a Democrat, usually what they're referring to is the fact that there was like for instance Joe Biden and his like people say Joe Biden is president, and yet abortion rights were overturned via Roe v. Wade, right? But who did that? It wasn't Biden who did that. It was the Republicans in the SCOTUS, the Supreme Court. Okay? That was not Biden. That was the SCOTUS. And they're Republicans. All right? So if you want more Republicans, if you want more of that, then feel free to let Trump win, okay? Don't let me stop you. But I think that it's good to not let that happen.
in many ways, a very clear-fire road to leadership. Now, is that due to Starmer's fantastic
I'm not convinced so far.
leadership, or is it just happenstance? Also, I do need to highlight, so much of this discourse feels often like it's begging the question as to who the lesser evil is.
It's true.
Which is often just based on words of the manifesto or the general vibes of a candidate. You're
That's
aware
not
that
true
some
at all.
people can just lie.
No, it isn't about vibes when it comes to Biden and Trump. Okay, and I saw Trump over here, so I'm ready to get to that because I don't know any of this Britbonger shit.
Right? It's also neglecting the possibility that their policies or actions might even end up being worse than the greater evil.
In Canada, it was the Liberal government of President Jean Chrétien which pushed forward neoliberalism, not the Conservatives.
And as a further point, a lot of this lesser evil shit gets really...
But what do you think the Conservatives would have done in the same position? You know, people like Joe Manchin, Joe Manchin, are essentially like conservative light. I'm not going to deny that. They exist. But if you think that a conservative is going to be better than a liberal in 999 circumstances out of 1,000, then you're lost in the sauce. There's no convincing you.
Really murky once you escape the usual America and Western Europe metropole. In Turkey, you have the choice between a hard right-wing despot who, due to the geopolitical landscape, utilizes refugees as a way to sustain himself, or a more progressive opposition that is highly opposed to refugees. If you vote for this opposition, you will be voting to kick out many people who have no other choice.
That's highly unfortunate. I would have to weigh that very carefully.
If I were to be incredibly charitable, at the very best, you would vote for a popular left-wing candidate. And no, I'm not talking put 10,000 more bobbies on the street level left-wing. I'm talking hang the parasites level left-wing.
But bear in mind, these parties already had
Okay, but what if one's not running? You gonna write him in? You think that'll help anything? You think that'll, make socialism happen? No, it won't. So, vote for the people who have a chance. The lesser evil. I'm sorry, you have to vote for the lesser of two evils sometimes. That's the world we live in. It's not fair, okay? But sometimes that's how it is.
Pre-existing bases at a very specific time and place in history, and they had proximity to Moscow. Hence why Americans funded the fuck out of their opponents. And even still, they themselves ended up becoming a very crapper and ineffectual shell of themselves as they went along this electoral road. Let me put it to you like this. If this is the lesser and greater evil on an axis of good versus evil, continued focus on voting for the lesser evil ignores the fact that evil in general is getting worse. Your prison systems keep on getting larger, your wages keep stagnating, your ability to find housing grows ever harder, inflation, the inequality between the rich and the poor grows wider, etc., etc.
Okay, let's say that this is true. During that downward decline, would you rather be in this circle or this circle? I'm just saying.
Because the
Even
factors
assuming this is
involved
true,
in society at large are not putting up a fight to the establishment.
This is not a good argument.
And that is where our energy should be focused. But the right wing can do it. When the far right won elections in Italy, or when Roe v. Wade was overturned, many saw this as an example of why the right is so much better than the left at winning the electoral game. The right can get...
I think they're better at cheating.
Their act together, and they're getting along without petty arguments. Why can't we just do that too? Why can't the left just do what I want them to do?
True, the left should do what what I want them to do.
We're not right wing.
We're better than them.
We're not reactionary populists who can always fall back on people's understanding of the status quo.
That's so far from the truth. You can do effective messaging and make people vote for progressive politicians easily, okay? All you have to do is say, listen, do you want your grocery prices to go down? Do you want to be able to get gas for less than $3 a gallon? Do you want this? Do you want that? What are the circumstances that affect that person personally? Okay, because it's not trans people, even though Republicans would love to have you believe that. It's not trans people, okay? It's for most of those people, it's groceries, childcare, school, work, you know, all these things that progressives hammer in all the time. All the time. Okay? I talk to people all the time about progressive policies. They're not even necessarily progressive. But if you can convince them that, like, you know, they're trying to distract you with all this trans nonsense, and these are the real issues that you should be looking at, and then they go look at the politicians and say, okay, here are the politicians. Here are the politicians that are supporting the things that I need, like groceries, like fewer work hours, right? Bernie Sanders, he was just on the news. He wants 32-hour work weeks. That's amazing. Who would not want to go from a 40-hour to a 32-hour work week and not lose a dime of pay? That's a great policy, okay? We don't have to play this game. You know, we don't have to say, we don't have to let them control the narrative. So this is just doomer speak.
I really just don't get what people are going for with this. Why not just go all the way and become a patriotic socialist? It's the same point they're making.
Tell you what. Drop all your ACAPs.
No. This is about rhetoric. This is about the rhetoric game. This isn't about pushing for policies that Republicans want. Because the normal American, the average American, doesn't want Republican policies. They want progressive policies. A lot of the times, Republicans will just lie to them and convince them that they don't.
Signs, drop all your pretenses towards having a spine. Let's try and win over the hearts and minds of the police.
Well, would you rather have the police vote for you or not? Would you rather have progressive voting police or conservative voting police? I'm just saying.
Right? Yeah? Sound like a good idea? The left-wing struggle is harder because our goal is harder. We intend to make a complete transformation of the economic system. Not just a few...
He has not brought up a single time yet that the Republicans are cheating, by the way. Like, Republicans have to cheat and they still lost. Republicans cheat and they still lost. That's important.
Goodie bags here and there. It's what separates us from people who fall back on tradition and money. Now, I'm sorry if this has been your entry to the left in recent years, but let me tell you something here. Socialism will not just be the way things are right now, but with worker ownership and all the nice things. Like restaurants. Restaurants are not going to exist.
Socialism's not coming... What? Hold on. Whoa.
Restaurants are not going to exist, sorry.
Who are you trying to reach with this messaging, man? Restaurants can exist in a socialist society. You can have restaurants in a socialist society. I'm sorry. And if you're going around telling people that you can't, who the fuck do you think you're going to win over? No. This is bullshit. You think that you're so much smarter than everybody else, don't you? Restaurants won't exist under socialism. Okay, then fuck socialism. Why would I want it? Restaurants are awesome. I love going out to restaurants. Are you kidding me? Yeah. What? Oh, okay. No restaurants under socialism. Bye, dumbass.
Nor will you achieve this road through reform.
I was being nice,
but not anymore. You have to imagine a world beyond the present state of things.
Did he just laugh?
Restaurants are not going to exist. Sorry.
He did, didn't he?
No.
What is that? Okay.
Nor will you achieve this road through reform.
You're so smart, man.
You have to imagine a world beyond the present state of things. If you can't imagine a society without restaurants as we know them,
as we know them, there will still be places where you go to sit down and eat and somebody serves you the food. Okay? We call that a restaurant. So there will still be restaurants under socialism, dumbass.
Systems that have an interest in preserving the status quo are not going to be effective avenues towards toppling it. The only times it's ever been allowed is if it will further benefit those in charge. From my experience, those who choose to enter the electoral...
Yeah, he doesn't need any housing. He lives so far up his own ass. Good point. Hello, NB Pal.
...game will soon find that there are a lot of incentives to keep that stagnant train late. And so activists settle for what's popular. The conditions make them shirk those radical ideas.
We should shit on her more. She deserves it, right?
They may have not thought about this, but in many ways the overturning of Roe v. Wade
I don't think people shit on AOC enough. Let's do more Democrats, of that, right?
Because it gives the perfect impetus for people.
One of the most progressive fucking politicians that currently exists. Let's shit on her. Good idea. Let's shit on her. Good job.
Enter into that game. Hey, wanna fix the system? Join us, further reinforcing it.
If the right-wing tactic is through niggling at the state,
You can
then
infiltrate.
The left-wing tactic, as it always has been, is direct action. A decision like Roe v. Wade.
Wait, what?
If the right-wing tactic is through niggling at the state, then the left-wing tactic, as it always has been, is direct
No,
action.
this is
A decision-
stupid. No, you can do the same shit that the Republicans do and infiltrate. We can infiltrate. I literally said it before he brought it up, which is funny. We can infiltrate. Why can't we do it? Why? I would love to know. Give me one good reason.
Like Roe v. Wade still would have passed had the Republicans had more power, the actions and influences of the women's movement at the time, and more radical steps like that of the Jane Collective,
They would have just ignored them.
challenged the power of the establishment.
By this logic, by the way, you could straight up just say that, like, well, a monarchy would be the same. A monarchy would just do the same thing, right? A dictator would do the same thing, right? It doesn't matter who's in power because the social pressure will always cause the change. No, that's stupid. Nobody thinks that. You're a dumbass.
After all, it's not the votes that make the change, it's the threat from below that makes them scramble for public legitimacy.
Or they
Time
can just
after
put you
time,
down.
especially in America. Elections are
Like
posed
Trump
as
did
the
during
most
BLM.
important election of our time.
They wanted to roll in the fucking tanks, man. Like, no, they're not. I'm sorry. It's not the same thing.
Until this exact time next cycle. Yet whenever the preferred side wins and things keep on getting worse, the response is simply that there's nothing that can be done. Despite the fact that groups historically have...
I don't say that. What do I always say, guys? Voting is the minimum that you can do. And you should do it. Okay? Other things that you need to do, though, get out and be a good progressive advocate. Okay? Go, make sure more people can vote. I did that. Do some community outreach. Make sure more people are capable of going out to vote. You can do that. You can go work at soup kitchens. It's very basic activism, but activism nonetheless. Progressive activism, mind you. Okay? Any other number of volunteer work. There's LGBT centers you can go work at and volunteer at. You can go be a suicide counselor for the Trevor Project. There's all kinds of things you can do. And you should, if you have the time and the money and the resources to do it. Okay? I should do more. I always say this. I should do more. And I am focusing on a lot of other things right now. And to my credit, I did just recently purchase some food for a food drive. I'm doing the little things that I can here and there. That's good progressive activism, okay? And you should do those things. But on top of that, go vote. Go vote. There's no reason not to.
have shown that things can indeed be done. It's demonstrating a huge degree of creative apathy. On the same level, perhaps, as the average Marxist-Leninist.
Now, those are the three main points for now, but until my final point, I know that there's a few nagging issues that some of you might be wondering. So, quick fire round. No, not very quick, but here we go. But your radical efforts didn't get to socialism either.
True.
That's correct. The road towards that is a very hard one. But this isn't really...
Yeah, and it's only made more hard when you don't vote for people to put in power that agree with you. Instead, you'd rather just grind your nose up against the brick wall that is the Conservative Party, right? Because that makes you feel better. That makes you feel like you're doing more. When really you're doing less. You're working harder, not smarter.
The argument that I'm making.
I'm a little lost by being late, but is he arguing that Democrats say don't vote and Republicans say do vote? No, he's arguing that voting is silly. That you shouldn't waste time with it. That it does nothing. And it's stupid.
Simply that it is a preferential...
Where's this guy's Vanguard? Huh? Go start your Vanguard, buddy. I'd love to see it. Show me your Vanguard. I'd love to see the radical communist force that you've built up here. Right?
Alternative to the mainstream agenda. It at least allows experience and experimentation and control in that direction. One thing for sure that is not allowed through the constraints of electoral politics in the slightest. And to that end, I feel you're engaging in survivor bias. It's been observed that many of the concessions gained by reformists have only ever been listened to because of the sacrifices of radicals. One very notable example. Ex-revolutionary...
Okay, but if you have a Republican in office, They're not going to listen to those radicals. The whole point is to make them listen, okay? And a Republican is not as likely to listen as a Democrat is. I'm sorry. You're never going to convince me of that. Anyone else feel like the word PSYOP got caricatured shortly before channels like this started anonymously insisting on bad advice? I'm not sure, actually.
They said that voting is necessary. This has already been covered in older videos, but just to add...
Vosh, Vosh, and more Vosh. Cool.
And this goes for everyone, really.
Quotations are supposed to be used in addition to the argument, not as its core. In other words, you agree with the substance of that quote and then the person, not the person, then the quote.
Lenin.
Okay. Oh, what?
As one. If Lenin jumped off a cliff, Lenin jumped off a cliff, I'm there.
Who are you?
Stupid. Yeah, so basically you're just saying, you're cherry-picking advice from them. You're cherry-picking advice from them. That's all you're doing.
You to say this when you're not doing a revolution right
True!
now.
Go join the Vanguard, buddy.
I don't need to be doing this right
now.
now.
Oh, of course not.
As I sit here.
Of course not. You'd rather sit on your ass at home and not vote, right? And make these stupid fucking videos and convince other people not to vote, right? That's a lot easier than joining a Vanguard, isn't it? Isn't it, bud?
Recording this video in order for my point to make sense. Nor do I expect everyone to be doing a revolution, because I understand that there are various physical, psychological, and economic reasons for why...
As an anarchist, I'm not necessarily happy with the voting system, but I'll also never tell people to not vote. Listen, again, like I said at the beginning of the video, I'm not going to come down on people who don't vote, okay? That's not what I'm coming down on. I'm trying to give that part up, okay? Because there's just no convincing some people. But when you are actively convincing others to not vote, that's who I'm getting mad at. So if you're not going to vote, there's not really much I can do to convince you at this point. I can try, but whatever. I don't have time to waste on that, okay? What I am trying to invest time into right now is... tearing apart people who are actively convincing others to not vote.
People cannot do such things. Will there need to be something
and
like...
yes, I'm not happy with the voting system either, by the way. I'm not.
This eventually? Will there need
to
be
vote.
Such actors? Yes. But my point is a standard.
Not you, though. Not you.
Can maybe go forward and make...
It could never be me. No, of course not me. Oh, no, of course. No. Right, the revolution, right. No. See, that's later. That's in the future. That's not me. It's not. No, of course not. Of course not.
Better steps. Not
right,
a
buddy.
Demand. Need I also say, this is literally a right-wing talking point that silences progress. Don't believe me?
Hey folks, Future Mouse here. Sorry to interrupt, but my edit was sadly interrupted. I was going to link to an old video response made to me by the great Carl Benjamin. Unfortunately, he's since nuked most of his videos. Pity. So you'll just have to believe me. In his own words, if I want to propose a revolution to overthrow capitalism, then I would first need to declare myself in active war against the state, and if I don't actively brand myself a literal terrorist, then I am just LARPing.
No,
because of course you cannot propose...
No. That's not true. You can demonstrate that, like, look, here's the people that I'm organizing. You don't have to be out and open with your plans, okay? Nobody's saying that. And by the way, I don't advocate for that, by the way. Okay, I literally don't. This is not me, like, being facetious. I don't advocate for that, okay? This is stupid to do. So don't do it. But I'm just saying, if you're not going to do that, then where is this all headed? When does it happen? I'm just wondering. I don't see any revolution going on. Where's it at? That's all I'm saying.
Was any method outside of the liberal ire without first grabbing an AK. Funny how that works.
Left-wing governments will allow a greater ability for people to become radicalized.
True.
That's just speculation. This is always just assumed as the outcome, when in fact there's...
That's not true at all. A left-wing government was in power, well, left-wing, quote-unquote, it was Obama. In terms of LGBT rights, it was left-wing, was in power when gay marriage was legalized, okay? And as a result of legalization of gay marriage, more and more people accepted LGBT people, okay? For a time at least, right? But the point is, most people in America right now, as opposed to 20 years ago, believe that gay marriage should stay legal. You couldn't have said that 20 years ago. And that's because of left-wing policies in our government. Quoting Sargon in his leftist anti-voting video. Was that Sargon of Akkad? Oh, great. No, of course he would quote Sargon. Why not?
Probably more societal factors at bay, and yes, I am going to have to ask you for a bit more evidence there. Why can I not just argue that once seemingly radical groups enter an electoral position, they will simply kick back, relax, and enter the stage of just making sure that they can sustain power without going any further?
Oh, this is projection, buddy. You're just saying that you would do this. You would do this. I wouldn't. We just talked to somebody who I know wouldn't.
Even absorbing and suppressing groups that wish to do what they once promised, creating legitimacy of their slightly more tangential politics as the de facto left in the eyes of the public. I think you know what I'm talking about here. Never fixing the fundamental contradictions.
So then nobody can ever be in power ever, because then they'll just get complacent and not do progressive socialism, right? Nobody can ever gain the reins of power, or else they're just against us now.
Will allow a more reactionary group to take power later down the line.
See?
We need a new party. No. Well, to be fair, most electoralists don't advocate this, but I include...
We need ranked choice voting is what we need.
Because it does pose quite a funny contradiction. Without question, leveraging your vote for a third party would frighten the existing lesser evil into changing their views far more than a "we will vote for you no matter what, so don't worry about shifting policies." Keir Starmer undoubtedly knows this, which is why his strategy has been focused on winning over potential swing voters instead of ideological left-wingers. He knows that camp is safe, especially liberals.
Honestly, yeah. A lot of politicians will focus on the swing voters. Most of them do. And they're smart to do so, because you see right now what's happening with a supposed leftist.
Imagine if it wasn't.
And that's where, by the way, leftists should be focusing their activism, is on swing voters. Okay? Win over the swing voters.
Historically, third parties, even in the US, have been strong indicators and influencers of change in a country's strategy. The GOP themselves were once a third party. I'm not implying that they'll win, but you'd be a fool to argue that enough bargaining via votes being siphoned away wouldn't influence the direction of the most popular ones. And there is proof.
When you vote third party, you are just throwing your vote away. In the current zeitgeist, that is what you're doing. There's not enough mobility of a third party. Okay? So voting third party is completely useless. All you're doing is telling the Democratic Party there's no way that you can possibly win me over. Okay? There's no reason to vote third party. Don't do it. The Destiny chatters.
Proof that third parties can become the second party. The Brexit phenomena in the UK only gained prominence because the UK Independence Party was taking away numerous votes from the Conservatives. Despite never winning more than 2 seats, they very nearly won more than 100. Their threat alone was enough to trigger the referendum. After this, they quickly lost relevance. I would still argue that this removes power from us, and it's not money that's being used in towards a radical aim, just that if I have any respect for electoralists, this would be your only
option. Of course. Waste time and money and energy and resources that this person mentioned, by the way, to go and support a third party rather than, infiltrate the main party, which is the far less, it's a far easier path. It's the path of less resistance. Why would you not take that path? I'm sorry. That's going to lead to more change quicker. More change quicker, and that's going to change a lot of people's lives in a good way. Keep in mind, the goal here should be improving the livelihoods of everybody, okay? Of as many people as possible. And you're going to do that by voting for the most progressive candidate that has a chance to win, not a third-party candidate.
And especially given what's happening right now in Gaza and Genocide Joe's support of it, is this not the perfect time for you to send a message?
We did, during the primaries.
By the way, if you are going to vote third party in the US, purely just for my own sanity, please don't vote PSL. They are absolute hot garbage, and I would urge you to investigate further.
I agree with that.
Not voting is a privilege. You wouldn't be saying that stuff if you were on the fringes of society. The protect.
Okay, yeah, good point. Yeah, just don't vote. You know, just screw the trans people, right? Screw the trans people. Fuck them. You know, like whatever. They don't need rights, right? Screw people who need abortions. They don't need abortions, right? True.
Protection of vulnerable groups is a very understandable concern, but ultimately this claim doesn't have as much punch as you might think. Like I said, your individual vote does little to affect the nature of these things.
Then just advocate for a dictator then. Time for Hitler to Electric Boogaloo, might as well. Oh, you know, if things get... Here's the thing that you guys don't get. If things had simply gotten bad enough in Germany, well, then Hitler would have just said, oh, I guess, you know... I can't do a German accent, I'll do my best though. The zeitgeist has shifted against the Nazi party. We must implement progressive policies that get us closer to socialism. Nine! Right? That's exactly what would happen. Remember, Hitler was elected.
Moreover, one could argue that third-party leverage does act as fighting for minority rights through bargaining, just via the long game.
The topic of privilege is also not
who's in
as
charge
cut
doesn't
and
matter,
dry
right?
as you may believe either.
Totally.
The same could also be turned around on you.
If you don't believe in that system, don't ask me to vote. If you don't actually believe that my vote means anything in that context, oh, well, you know, you're throwing away your vote.
You are.
Why do you believe in this system?
I don't.
Because
I would like to change the system, but it's the system in which we live, okay? If you are... let me paint a scenario for you guys. If you're trapped in a basement with, let's say, 9 other people, you're one of 10 people trapped in a basement, okay? And you're handcuffed to the radiator, and there's nothing you can do. And all 10 of you are given a choice. Your choice is, okay, you can either eat the big pile of shit or you can eat the little pile of shit, right? Those are your 2 choices. Now, what you could do is you could say, well, I don't believe that I should be chained down here, so I'm not going to vote. But that'd be really stupid, actually, because you would rather eat the smaller pile of shit, I would presume at least, right? So you're forced to eat it anyway. You might as well just go for the less bad one, okay? Because abstaining from voting, let's say that there are people in there who are somehow convinced that the bigger pile of shit is the better one. Are you going to vote? Are you just not going to vote? Oh, it's 5 to... let's say let's make it 11 people so it's uneven. It's a 5 to 5 vote. You're the last person, okay? 5 of them say big pile of shit. The other 5 say little pile of shit. Oh, you're just not going to vote. Okay. All right. Fine. I guess. You do you.
because you are okay with where we are right now.
That's how I look at it anyway.
And that is privilege, and we've been trying to tell you that coming to us and saying it's going to get so much worse is the most, like, tone-deaf take in the history of politics. Because clearly then it's not gotten worse enough for you.
But what I have found quite surprising
then don't vote.
when
Then,
doing my
then you know what? Just go crawl in your room and rot then.
research
Doomer.
against what I thought was going to be the case is that the overwhelming majority of testimonies that I came across putting forward criticisms of electoralism happened to be from people of color and LGBT. A common sentiment shared by the former crowd: yes, it would be worse. For you, I've got nothing to lose. I don't want to vote genocide. Or my favorite, Project 2025, I'm still dealing with Project 1776.
Okay, bet then.
Again, nothing definitive, but it does showcase that the
Okay, sorry gays, I know you liked getting married, but hey.
Opinion is much broader than many electoralists seem to be
I know you liked living.
And those voices, I think, might want to be
But
heard
fuck it,
more.
you know, they're the same. The parties are the same, right?
Your ideas are accelerationism.
True.
No, they're not.
Aw.
Accelerationism, as it's being
I thought
used
they
today,
were.
is just another one of those words that people fling around divorced
Oh,
from
you
the
know.
original meaning.
It doesn't mean
Accelerationism
anything.
can be referred to as speeding up class struggle by supporting the destruction of worker solidarity and gains, then expecting those people to create socialism.
Yes.
It doesn't work. People just become disillusioned. What I have stated is a move towards alternative structures and building bases of power.
I
whereby
still think that you should do that, and you can do that after, and before, by the way, all throughout the process, but you can vote on top of it is the point.
we can uphold and increase those gains and protections and would be an actual threat.
We can do all of it.
Which in doing so create favorable conditions as more and more people become actively politicized.
You can't just say accelerationism to anything you don't like.
It's not add anything I don't like. You are literally doing the thing that you defined accelerationism as, which is telling people not to vote, therefore making it more likely that the Republican Party wins, and that worsens things for all of us. That's accelerationism.
Want to do the party stuff,
and you're doing
that doesn't mean that we have to. Having had experience in parties, I can assure you that they're not all just rich libs. Many of the rank and file that party depends on are the on-the-ground working-class people. And
That's
have
true.
you noticed that there's a bit of a contradiction here? If you're reliant on politically active libs to win the election through campaign work, aren't those exactly the sorts of people that we need to be socialists and fighting for a new society? Facts still remain.
Okay, where's your vanguard? Still waiting.
More support, even from socialists.
There's nothing we can point to and say, go join this.
Increase the odds of you
Nothing.
winning. So my statement still stands. All right, just one more because it's quite funny.
Don't campaign, can't complain, sweaty.
Okay.
Fuck you.
Have fun in the camps then.
Yep.
This one
Good
is
luck.
brilliant on so many levels. The defeatism, the lack of
No,
focus,
that's no.
and the complete-
You're the one being defeatist. You're the one being defeatist. All I'm saying is do the groundwork, but also vote.
Ignorance of how fascism gained power in the first place. To name just Nazi Germany, the fascists grew in power due to the
Which, by the way, hey, once again, might as well just make Hitler the president, right? There's no difference between Joe Biden and Hitler, right? He probably would unironically say that, and that is that's honestly Holocaust denialism if you say that. Just so you know.
failure of the working class movement to provide a winning
how fucking dare
alternative.
you.
Not because there
Fucking
wasn't
Holocaust,
enough democracy or something like that. Say if that what you want. It was helped in no part due to the equivalent centre-left party in Germany, the SPD, who had nearly every opportunity violently repressed its ability to grow. If your takeaway from this is vote fascism away, then you're effectively saying to the working class movement, shut up and die. And then blame them when they don't want to vote for the same people who shot them down.
Nobody said vote
Fact
fascism
is,
away.
It was the Social Democrats, the lesser evil, the ones that you insist that we vote for, that provided all of the correct avenues for fascism to flourish.
Oh, wait. Hold on. I thought they were... Now, here's the thing. I thought that they were actually also fascists. Is the thing. I thought that it didn't matter who was in power. It wouldn't have mattered, right? It wouldn't have mattered. Anybody could have been Hitler, right? Right, buddy? Right? That's just what I thought, personally, from what I heard here.
Study the SPD.
Might as well put Hitler in power. He'll do the same thing as Biden,
initial
right?
socialist-minded groups succumb to the conditions that they legitimize. I hope that if you do agree with my line of thinking here, that you don't get too dogmatic about not voting. If it is practical and easy, and not
good.
too much faff,
Good.
Then go for it.
See, it's all fine. 25 minutes and 46 seconds into the video, that is 34 minutes and 5 seconds long, he said, hey, if you still want to vote, I guess, maybe, I don't know. Yeah, after you've already told people, hey, don't vote, it's a waste of your time. Good job. Good job, man.
I'm not stopping you. In a democracy, as you call it, that's your privilege, right? There's no need to get too burnt up over it all.
I
Individual
guess.
voting, like I said, is not the issue.
Yeah,
to go
fuck
on from
it,
this,
mate.
if it happens that single-issue voting situations arise that have a very clear benefit, then you should probably go for it as well.
Yeah. Yeah, you probably should, shouldn't you? Yeah. You mean like abortion, the thing that if you don't have access to it, it can fucking kill you? Yeah, the marijuana that people are still rotting in fucking prison for minor offenses of owning pot, of smoking a joint. Yeah, I would say go vote.
That have a very clear benefit.
This whole video
then you
is
should probably
completely
go for it as well.
debunked by this alone.
It's so far removed from that special hell of the electoral machines. And bear in mind, though, it might appear like a symbol of teenage angst, but the words voting only legitimizes the system aren't exactly as juvenile as you may think.
Okay, I'm listening.
There's very good logic to suggest that encouraging the act of voting in this machine reduces the feeling of agency that individuals
That's not true.
have.
No, if your advocacy for voting is reducing the feeling of legitimacy that people or that individuals have, then you're doing it wrong. You're advocating the wrong way. You don't just say go vote and you're done. Oh, you voted, that's fine. Well, you voted, that's fine, right? You've done enough. You also don't say, like, hey, you're not doing enough, sweaty. Go out and do the work, sweaty. You convince people that they should do the work. Okay? It's called incentivizing. Have you ever heard of it? Incentivize people to go do the work while you incentivize them to go vote. Because abortion is a very important right, man. I feel like we can't just brush past that.
Pushing them into the realm of bureaucrats, even third party. That it's a self-fulfilling dynamic that reinforces the system. Fighting against that, showcasing apathy or anger that one has from a very principled point, is not quite as juvenile as one may think. If Starmer does get a supermajority, yeah, it'll be funny that the Tories are reduced to a shell of their former selves, but again, it's that Tories are the enemy narrative that ultimately wins. In the line of history, those votes will simply legitimize him in the eyes of the public. A return to normalcy. Capitalism.
You know how you delegitimize the Republican Party? Blow them out of the fucking water. Okay? That's how. Make them look stupid. You make them look stupid by showing them that even if they cheat, they lose. Even if they cheat, they lose. Oh, wow. You lost how many elections? How many popular votes in a row? Yeah, man. So legitimate. Such a good party, right?
Continues, especially in Liverpool. It's not innately true that systems become more despotic the less people partake in that system, just so long as that apathy is being funneled into other channels that can then become the new legitimacy.
All of this, oh yeah, no. A Republican who's in charge of this district would definitely not crack down on this. In fact, they would have the same chance of doing so as a Democratic person in charge of this district, right? Totally.
But going on from this, I think one of the most pernicious problems with electoralism, beyond simply sapping us of our agency, is how given time, it reduces all political energy down to how do you convince people to vote for someone.
Okay, if you don't like voting, then get out of the country. I have no time for you. I don't know, just move then. If you don't like it, get out.
And that is not
We live in a
politics.
democracy, and I like that.
There are questions far more fitting of a radical left legacy than a 2-year freeze.
It's a broken democracy, but it is one nonetheless. And I'd rather live here than a fucking monarchy or dictatorship. Get out.
Or the abolition of work as a concept. Whatever you think of these things right now, they're worth thinking about. They're on the level we ought to be striving towards. And it's good when we get people...
Guess what Bernie Sanders is trying to push through? A 32-hour work week. I know that's not exactly not working, but it's a hell of a lot better than a 40-hour work week now, don't you think? That's a whole 8 hours in the week that you get back to yourself. An entire fucking day. All right? Wouldn't it be nice to work Monday through Thursday instead of Monday through Friday and have that entire Friday to do whatever the fuck you want with that hard-earned money? You know? That's a good anti-work policy that a politician who was elected, oh, sorry, I just triggered you, into office is trying to push for. Okay? So maybe it's not all that bad.
Thinking outside the status quo, beyond the baggage that capitalist mindsets have left all of us with. We'll be building the new set of minds that can come up with the challenges of tomorrow. You might throw in the
usual, all that and still vote.
Nice thoughts, but that'll never bring people over. Well, I ask you, at what point? And at what context?
Abolish the police is not a winning line. I'll say it. Abolish the police is a fucking loser line. Okay? It didn't work. It won't work. And you're stupid if you think it will.
Text. And why must average schmoes be so deprived of their creativity? Might these be more grander?
Sakatanuki with a 5 tier 1 gifted subs. Thank you. I love hearing critiques of electoralism from a Brit-bonger who works in a parliamentary system of turfs. Yeah.
I gotta go.
All right, I'll see you. Have fun.
Have fun, guys.
Let me know what's going on.
I will.
Let me read that again, sorry. True. Fucking Britbonger is trying to tell us in the US what to do. Oh yeah, he does live in Britain. I guess he's already out. Thank God.
Interesting questions that can attract...
Sorry, my Americentrism brain was taking over for a second. He lives in Britain already. Fuck you then.
people with a similar desire? What's with the
Good
fixation of bringing
country you
over
never lived in.
everyone to our side anyway? We're not admin. Perhaps we should try and attract the right people first. Quality over quantity. After all...
You're also, I'm sorry, not going to pull people over by saying we should abolish work. Okay? Because as much as people would love to abolish work, they've all been convinced that they have to go to their 9-to-5 jobs in order for society to function. That's how they understand the world. So if you don't meet these people where they're at, you're never going to convince them of anything. Okay? This is just like, well, basically what he's doing is he wants his message to be universally and understood without having to break it down or simplify it or start small or anything like that. He just thinks that it should be understood, and if you don't understand it, well, then you're just stupid, bro. I guess you're just stupid. Oh, you don't want abolition of the police and jails? You don't want to abolish them? You must just be stupid then. Bye, sweaty. Bye, sweaty. Oh, you're not part of my vanguard. Bye, sweaty. Yeah, okay. Yeah, that's a great way to win people over, man. What good fucking optics you have. What great work you're doing. Pulling people over to your side. Good job.
History has often shown that there's nothing more dangerous than a small gang of troublemakers. The appeal to pragmatism appears indestructible.
Go join a small gang of troublemakers.
After all,
then.
if you're not pragmatic...
Hold on a minute. Now, I was sitting here thinking that you needed like a big vanguard, right? Remember that? We need like to build up the forces, that it takes time. What's all this with the small group of troublemakers? Oh, it's just a small group of trouble... Okay, go join them then. Go show me.
Then what are you? In reality, when this word is pointed to, it serves merely to avoid investigating more interesting alternatives that exist outside the status quo.
Pragmatism sounds like a disease, not gonna lie.
That could drive an
Take it from
actual
a nurse.
strong leftward movement, and in doing so alienating people from even beginning to entertain those grander concepts. How do you expect to go beyond reform if you're constantly saying, later, next time, we need
Good question.
to get...
Oh, Vanguard? Later. Next time. Next time. No Vanguard in this decade. It's too hard for me. Vanguard next time.
Ourselves
Good
together
point.
first. There is no end to this. Somebody needs to throw the brick sooner or later.
Okay, you go
it's
through
like
it.
what I said at the beginning.
Go
Too
through it.
many of us are stuck in this realm
You
of
do it.
we've got to sort this out first.
Oh, I'm sorry. You're too busy telling people not to exercise their electoral rights, right? You're too busy. You can't do it.
That they will always be
You're
reactionary
too busy sitting on your ass
opposition.
at home.
At some point, the
telling
only
people
way
to
to get
not
over this hurdle
exercise their
is to
God-given
act
fucking
on
rights to vote.
oppositions. In truth,
For the people
we
in charge
can
of making
do
their laws
radical
and enforcing them.
and individually vote. Yes.
Yes.
Yet in nearly every avenue, from radical electoralists, the hierarchy of reform and revolution is always weighted far too much towards the former. I've seen way
show me
too
your
many
revolution.
self-proclaimed socialists settle for the slogan of reform while we can, revolt if we must. Thinking that
I think
this
that's
is some
fine.
kind of powerful, enlightened statement, and it's not. It's
Oh, yeah,
just
we're the ones trying to act
intractable
powerful and
any
enlightened.
kind of radical change. Because again, it always pushes those ideals into long-off lofty goals, not things that we
Not like the Vanguard, which this guy's definitely going to start tomorrow, right?
should all be working on
Totally.
right now. Nobody ever won a negotiation by demanding practical demands. They asked for the world, and they got somewhere. So
Ugh.
in that sense then, the moderate goals are done when they become available,
What?
and our main job is in those radical efforts. That is as much as I would be willing to concede. And I am not compromising
I'd love to see this person's IRL work. I'd love to see it.
on this. Too much of the left has been taken down this reformist path, and I've had 11
Not enough, in my
years
opinion.
to see that it is a complete dead end. At least with this strategy, you will then have
Oh,
a
you're
political
impatient.
force that will affect moderate change as a secondary measure, instead of the impoverished historic.
Hold on, 11 years. When was, here. When was gay marriage legalized? on June 26, 2015. So 11 years. So in 11 years, that would have been 2013. So in those 11 years, this person got to see gay marriage get legalized under a democratic institution. In those 11 years, they got to see gay marriage be legalized. But they think that that's not enough. They think that that's, you know, that's silly. That doesn't matter, right? Right, Bad Mouse, right? You don't think that matters enough.
Or a tactic of tailism.
Okay. Which
is what you're doing, by the way. You're tailing the capitalists.
Another 5 gifted tier 1 subs. I don't know why the sound's not working, sorry. From Saki Tanuki. You might want to ask Lenin how well his Vanguard Party concept worked for the advancement of communism. That's a great question. I would love to ask. Thank you very much for the 5. The 10 total. Thank you. Appreciate you very much.
You can go ahead and yell Puritan all you want, ignoring all the points I've made. And yes, I'll be the first one to say that there are some who follow my train of thought who might get a bit too burn the earth prone.
But I'd invite you to consider
that's what you're leading them toward,
the
though.
most hellish Puritan is by far a lesser evil to the far more popular hell of an opportunist who deviates the revolutionary current in favor of supposed mass appeal and personal gain.
But he has not demonstrated how at all. Like, he's never given an example or anything of electoralism getting in the way of on-the-ground work. It does not get in the way of it. It's simply an add-on to it, all right? And he himself admitted in this video that single issues such as abortion are very important to vote on, okay? So if you vote for a politician that's going to ban abortion, I feel like it's important, or sorry, if there's going to be a politician in office that might ban abortion, I feel like it's very important to vote against them.
One is
whatever
very
it takes
easy
to not put a person in power who's going to take away abortion,
the
including
other
voting,
is far more dangerous because it attaches itself to popular common sense narratives and doesn't
common
need to
sense narratives like let's not vote for the person who's going to let's not let the person win who's going to outlaw abortion. Oh, it's common sense narratives, right? Common sense narratives. Good job.
Beyond that, so many people are tricked and pulled asunder with an embiggened sense of self-assurance.
You're not a Puritan, he's a fucking
and this
dweeb.
leads to
Good
defeatism,
point.
vulgar pragmatism, sad militancy, and the loss of radical creativity.
Defeatism, vulgar pragmatism, sad militancy. See, vulgar pragmatism sounds like a disease too. But this is defeatist. All you're saying is that we might as well have Hitler in power. That Hitler would be just as bad as Biden. That's what I've taken from this video, is that Hitler would just be just as bad as Biden. Fuck it. Okay? That's called Holocaust denial.
The same impulses for socialists to favor the electoral strategies are also used by left liberals to favor more broad candidates. There is no end to this.
Totally.
One reason I have heard as to why many ardent voters might think that way, whether they realize it or not, is that the failure of their movement to win would force themselves to stop pretending and start organizing seriously in the same way people already on the fringes of society have had to do for a long time now. Of course, what should be very evident within all of this is that despite the poverty of voting, not voting alone also doesn't make a difference. Part of the reason why there is such an obsession with voting, besides being...
Not voting, it makes the opposite of a difference. You've sat at home on your ass doing nothing.
Brought up with it is due to the lack of viable alternatives available. Now that's the reason, but of course it doesn't mean that you should be promoting it. Someone's got to start somewhere.
I'm promoting voting.
And I won't lie, it's hard building a grassroots movement free from any of the financial strings of the establishment. And it's often very demoralizing. But it's necessary. And if you and those around you have the capacity to do it,
then don't vote.
You should give it a try.
Right?
Embrace the unknown.
Give it a try,
it's a
don't
tough
vote.
few years ahead of us,
right?
And the problems we are facing right now will not be solved with another election. Funnel
Nobody
that
said
apathy into channels that can create real change.
After you vote! And before you vote. All throughout. This is just a stupid fucking video. Jesus Christ. What is this, Bad Mouse? All these people whose names start with bad, man. Maybe they are just bad. Maybe you should just take them at their word. You know? This is really stupid. This guy will not put down the clown makeup. True. Good point. Yeah. Like the fucking clown you are, right? With the red nose. There it is. Good point. But yeah. No, please go vote, actually. If you're not convinced that voting is important, think about abortion rights, think about gay marriage rights, think about trans rights, think about all of these rights that, you know, we mostly enjoy right now. No thanks to the Republicans, right? That will be just stripped from you if Trump wins. I'm sorry, but that's simply the case. I know it sounds like liberal pandering bullshit. I know. To a lot of people, I should say. But it's true. Okay? Trump is not going to be better than Biden. He's not going to be the same as Biden. He's going to be much fucking worse. So I'm not trying to come down on people who are disenfranchised from the... It's not disenfranchised. Disillusioned by the voting system. That's not what I'm trying to do. If you're not going to vote and you're a leftist, I'm probably not going to convince you out of that. And I'm not going to try. And I'm not mad at you either. I get it. You know, Genocide Joe is doing a genocide in Palestine, okay? I can't ignore that. I get it. But on the other side, Trump's not going to do much better. Okay? He's going to be 1,000 times worse in all regards. In all regards. So don't listen to people like this. Please get out and do your part. Go vote. And then get active in other ways. You can do both. Do both. It's not hard. Okay? It's really not. I do enjoy my trans rights, yeah. Alec isn't going to be mad at you, but I will. I don't know. What can I say? I look at it on a systemic level. Where it's like, people are disillusioned by the voting system, and rightfully so. Okay? It hasn't helped them much in the past. Although, well, it feels like it hasn't. Okay? I can understand it feels like it hasn't. But in many regards, it has. Okay? And I think it's important to remember that. I will bully you for not voting. If you guys, I'm not going to say not to, but like, I've given up on it. That's all. Okay. I'm going to go to the bathroom again real quick. And we'll be right back. Alright, I'm back. Ah, shilling yourself in my chat, I see. Alright, what is this? Oh, is this like music that you made?
Zealots of the church want to tell me indulgence is evil and I'm living unhealthy. It feels a little fucking overwhelming. I gotta be ashamed about the urges that compel me. In my youth when I was learning, I was told that I should turn the other cheek, and people hurt me by the people who would hurt me. They would say that it's okay to be a primalistic earthling if you get up bright and early for church at 9:30. You can be fucking forgiven for anything if you want. If you pretended to regret it, then proceed to have fun. You can objectify your daughter, fucking beat your own son, but you gotta promise that you tell the priest when you're done. Yeah, guilt trip on a guilt trip on a guilt trip. If you're pro-choice and you wanna kill kids, you're a slut if any clothes that you put on are reveal, and a glutton if you wanna put another meal, and a fucking monster if you don't find pleasure on appeal, and an enemy if any.
Not bad, not bad. If you guys would like to hear more, there's Ox Pecker. Their TikTok. You can go follow them. Here, I'll put it in the YouTube chat too. All right. I need a shorter one. What do we got here? We just did voting silly, and here's why. Think before you sleep. National Socialists were far leftists. I don't know if I'd be good at that one. I already did this one. Oh yeah, the Sweet Baby Inc. CEO. Oh, I want to do another conservative street interviewer. That's what I want to do.
I feel like people are...
That's what I want to do. Sorry, I just had some Cheetos. I had to get something in my stomach. I should really start advertising different platforms with this TikTok ban business. Yeah, good point. Switch to YouTube. They've already got all the fixins for, you know, the replacement for TikTok. That's a little better. Okay. I'm gonna do a little research first. Here we go. Oh, interesting. The person who conducted all these interviews has like individual videos. Maybe we'll just do a shorter one. What do you guys think? You want to do the longer one or the shorter one? I think the shorter one will suffice. I need to give Dubsy a shorter one.
Do you think a 12-year-old...
Let's find a fun one. I think this one works.
Do you think...
Loving the bit Red Boy by the couch. Thank you. It's not mine, it's Katie's. All right. Conservative street interviews. I've done a video on them once before. We're doing another one, and this one's going to be a little bit shorter. I found this guy named Malik Snaps from this video. When delusional woke people get owned. Number 7. But I'd rather just go over this Malik Snaps guy. It looks like they got a few different people here, maybe. No. It is just Malik Snaps. They just compiled all of these. No, wait. There are different people. Here's Steven Crowder. Yeah, no, I'd rather just go over the one. So this is from the guy Malik Snaps himself. 6,000 subscribers on YouTube. Looks like 3K views on this video. It says, if genitals don't define gender, why does removing them affirm it? And I've answered this before, but I'll answer it again. It affirms it because we as a society have intrinsically tied, or supposedly intrinsically, tied gender to sex. And so when you are born with a PP, we call you a boy. When you're born with a vagoober, we call you a girl, right? And that's just the way that it's been for a long time, frankly, a long time. But those actually describe male versus female, is what that describes. And there you can have all kinds of things in between as well. Not very often, but it happens. So if genitals don't define gender, why does removing them affirm it? It's because we so closely associate your gender with what genitalia you have. And so if you're constantly being inundated with this knowledge of, okay, you have a vagina and you're a girl. Only girls have vaginas. Only girls have vaginas. Only girls have vaginas. Only girls have vaginas. And then you're a person who was born male and you look in the mirror and you see a penis, that's going to fuck with you mentally. Okay? And that's a problem. So the reason that they would then go to remove their genitalia is to affirm their gender. Genitalia, by the way, that they may have been more than happy to keep in other circumstances. We don't know. It's impossible to know. But it's possible, right? So that's really my explanation. I'm not sure what these girls will answer, what any of these people will answer, if they'll be smart or dumb or what. What I do know is that this is a very disingenuous, dishonest question to throw at people, and the only reason is to make trans people look bad. So let's go ahead and take a look at what Mr. Malik Snaps has to say.
Do you think genitals define gender?
No.
Yes.
Why?
Gender is a societal construct.
True.
That is, you're born with it, like that's who you are, like you're a man or a woman, like that's what I believe.
If genitals don't define gender, why does removing them affirm it?
So a person will feel more affirmed if they change their genitals, and it'll help affirm them societally.
Yeah. No, that's a good answer. Societally, yeah.
So would you say then genitals do define gender?
No, I don't.
No, that's not how that works. No.
I still say no.
No.
So what do you have to say to
that? Makes total sense. No, nothing there did not make sense. That was a fine answer from a complete normie, by the way.
The person that says you are what you're born with and you just need to accept it?
Fuck you.
And what would you say?
True. Oh my God, what a queen. They always leave the L's in these videos. It's so funny.
To everyone that says no.
I would say it's science, like...
If genitals don't define gender, why does removing them affirm it?
I mean, who says that affirms it, though?
Why do they remove their gender?
Okay, but it does affirm it. That's the thing. It does affirm it. Because, once again, we have an intrinsic understanding of... that we're taught this understanding of genitalia being tied to your gender. That's why. It's not that complicated.
I mean, why do people get tattoos? Why do, we get piercings? I just think it's a way of an expression.
I feel like people are what they are born with, and they can be whoever they want to be. But, at the end of the day, even if you take it off, you're still who you are. So.
True.
What if I, wanted to become black? Could I do that?
All of these are great answers. Good. We have the, what if I wanted to become black? And my answer to this is all other things removed. If you want to dye your skin black, if we didn't have the history of oppression, here's the thing. You don't have transracial dysphoria. It simply doesn't exist in the same capacity as transgender dysphoria does. Okay? We don't know exactly why. I'm sure there are people who have it. And if it would help them to, do something to affirm their circumstances, then I think that we should do it, assuming it doesn't hurt anybody else. I don't have a problem with that. But it's a disingenuous question, once again, because they don't give a shit about how these people actually feel about themselves or how they go about their lives. Otherwise, they wouldn't be asking these dumb shit questions.
What if I like wanted to become black? Could I do that?
I mean, no, because race is a set thing. Like,
do you have racial dysphoria?
Race isn't a construct, but gender is.
What I see
No,
is like,
race is a construct, actually.
they're both things you're born with.
And once again, like all other things being equal, I don't really have a problem with people dyeing their skin different colors. You know what I mean? Like, okay, it's an aesthetic choice. What about it? If that's what you mean, by the way, or if you want to talk a certain way or act a certain way, assuming you're not doing it disingenuously or hurting anybody, I don't give a shit. I don't care. I'm consistent.
Well, I don't think that you're born with your gender. I think gender is what society sets on people.
True.
So I could be like, you look like a boy.
Shoot, if you want to say that, you can.
What if I wanted to be
Sure.
black? Can I just be black?
You can't just assume a different
Okay, but why though? For what reason? Like, why are you asking me this question? You can just refuse the question at that point. It's disingenuous.
culture, especially considering the hierarchies of race.
It is very tired rhetoric.
What if like I wanted to be black? Could I do that? Because that's what I wanted to be.
I don't think. No.
No, I don't think so. But like,
Why? It's what I want to be. It's what I like.
yeah.
Accept me.
Okay, fine. If that's really what you want to be, and we, then fine. I don't care. I don't personally care. That's the thing. Like, if people want to be trans, if they want to be a woman or a man or whatever, then fine. If you want to call yourself black and you're not hurting anybody by doing so, then I don't care that much. Okay? I really don't. And sometimes, by the way, you can be like a white person born in a black neighborhood, and in some ways take on, the characteristics that mostly black people have. That happens a lot. And you could call that a form of transracialism, if you wanted to. The point is, people exist in all kinds of ways, in all manners of ways, and there's nothing wrong with it. Okay, as long as you're not hurting anybody, I just don't care. So these disingenuous questions are just bullshit, and he knows it, by the way. Okay, he's got this smug fucking grin on his face while he asks these questions that he knows are gonna gotcha normies, because he hates trans people. He simply hates trans people is the thing, okay? That's all this is about. That's all it will ever be about. And if you run into these street interviewers, again, what I suggest is you just pull out your phone and blast your music as loud as possible so that they get demonetized on YouTube. Yeah, it's okay for emo people to want to be more pale. It's okay to want to tan your face. That's what I would ask. Why? Am I allowed to go tan? What if I want to be tan? Can I go do that? It's a good question. Yeah, that's not how someone with dysphoria thinks exactly. Okay, that was a good short one. The worst possible time to be willing to be someone who's willing to abandon their humanity for very little money. True. Yeah, the quickie vids.
Of Sweet Baby Inc. proudly.
Okay, we'll go over one more, and then I think I'll be done. It'll be a short one. Gunky vids? Ew. Disgusting. Okay, so I've been hearing a lot about this Sweet Baby Inc. thing. Now, I don't know a whole lot about it, but from what little Tina 2 told me, is basically it's like this company that helps movie producers or something, or like just content creators in general, figure out what's racist and what's not, right? And I think that's fine to do, but Asmongold does apparently not think so, and says Sweet Baby Inc. CEO is nuts. Now, once again, I don't know very much about the situation, so maybe I'm not the best person to go over this, but I'm going to go over it anyway, because it's short and it seems fun. So let's do it.
The co-founder of Sweet Baby Inc. proudly explains the method that she uses to force bosses at game studios to censor, alter, and diversify game projects she feels are problematic, terrify them, aka threaten them with the anger of the cancel culture mob.
Okay, let's see it.
Okay, let's listen to what's said.
If you're a creative working in AAA, which I did for many, many years, put this stuff up to your higher-ups, and if they don't see the value in what you're asking for when you ask for consultants, when you ask for research, go have a coffee with your marketing team and just terrify them with the possibility of what's going to happen if they don't give you what you want.
But that's entirely reasonable. That's called bargaining. That's called telling them, like, this is what's going to happen to you. You're going to get canceled. You are going to incur the wrath of the public. Yeah, that's called good marketing.
Right. And so let me explain really what that terror is. 5 tweets that go viral and then nobody actually cares after that. And I'll give...
That's not even true. Like, look at what happened with the fucking J.K. Rowling game. People are still talking about, don't buy that, don't buy that, don't buy that. Do you know how much more successful that game would have been if J.K. Rowling weren't a transphobic piece of shit? I'm just saying.
Give some examples for that. So number one, Final Fantasy 16 was criticized tremendously because it didn't have representation of different races, and the game was massively successful. Another good example is Hogwarts Legacy. Like, based off of the feedback and the information that was online, probably was like half the game killing gay people. I mean, it has to be, right? But whenever you play the game, you know that's not the case. And
okay, but you're not actually like... I thought he'd show some stats for it.
On top of that, it was the best-selling game last year. It sold
like... well, there you go. It was the best-selling game. I was wrong.
20 million copies. So if they're trying to terrify these media and these marketing teams, cancel culture mobs, and people getting angry on...
I still think it would have done better without J.K. Rowling being a transphobic piece of shit.
Twitter don't mean anything. It's just completely vapid garbage. It's vapid hot air.
There's like a genuine value that you can impress upon them, both ethically and financially. You could say this is important. And
I used to love Harry Potter. The transphobia is the reason I don't anymore. Yeah, exactly. Like, they've disenfranchised so many people, or disillusioned so many people from the media because of the transphobia. But yeah, I don't know. I just think it's silly to waffle about this stuff. It's like, okay, what's the deal? Like, you don't want diversity, you don't want more representation, you don't want, like, people to feel comfortable playing games. Like, what, you want racism in your game? Oh, okay. Like, I don't know. It's just very silly to me. That was a bad one. I probably won't upload that one. Like I said, I'm probably not the best person to go over that drama. I don't know. That was only 3 segments. I'd feel bad calling it quits here, but I am getting tired. Here, what's in my other reacts? Oh, we already did that. Yeah, I'm getting sleepy. Let me check my Twitter bookmarks real quick. Oh! Oh! We have to go over this! Wait. Hold up. One more seggy. All right, so you may all remember my incredible appearance at the Matt Walsh college thingy that he did. You know, Dubsy, put a clip from it if you don't mind. Any clip you want. I think that I did a pretty good job at it. And I'm not the only person who's gone out and done these things. Obviously, Shark300 was there with me. Excuse me. And this person, Demigloom, has done one before, I believe. And she just did one again. Yet again. Went and confronted Michael Knowles at #YoungAmericans. And I heard that she did a fabulous job. And I personally would like to take a look.
Hi, Michael. My name is Demi. In the recent past, you've advocated for the outright eradication of transgenderism from public life with the claim that the supposed right of confused people to pretend to be the opposite sex necessarily infringes on your right to distinguish between men and women. I'm standing here now, a biological male, wearing a dress with a pair of leggings. Do you sincerely believe that I should be subject to punitive justice on the basis of what I'm wearing? And if so, are you willing to turn yourself in for wearing women's panties in your gay college film?
Oh, yo, that was sick. Holy shit. Holy shit, that was a low fucking blow. All the way down to the panties, baby. Oh my God. I want to see how he reacts to that one.
Well, I'll take those questions in order, I guess. The first one, I would encourage you to
Annihilated.
To behave
You can just walk away after that one.
as a man is what I would do. You,
To be what as a man?
I would encourage you to behave as a man is what I would do. Because
Why?
You are a man, and I don't know how exactly you came to the point where you think you're a woman or very much would like to be a woman, but you aren't. And I don't think anyone who is affirming your delusion is helping you. I don't think that they're...
You get to the next question. I'm not interested in his answer to this. His bullshit, waffly answer to this. Get to the next one.
Of yours. I think they're lying to you, and I think it's very disrespectful.
We know, buddy. We know. We know you think she should be genocided. We know.
Only immiserate you. And so you might hate me for telling you the truth, but I think the truth will set you free. And furthermore,
Totally.
your masquerading as a woman does infringe on the legitimate rights of other people, the rights of women to have their own bathrooms. I don't know if you're an
Women don't have the right to have their own fucking bathrooms. That's not written anywhere. Sorry.
athlete. I'm not much of an athlete myself, but the
Public
rights
space,
of,
baby.
Women to have their own sports leagues and the like. That is not something that you have a right to do, no matter how sincerely you believe.
Women also don't have a right to their own fucking sports leagues. Nobody has a right to their sports league. Okay? You don't have a right to participate in high-level sports. Nobody has that right.
The fantasy that you're a woman. As to that Yale thesis film, this thing dogs me.
I'll bet it does, buddy.
In my wayward youth, I was never a transvestite or a homosexual.
Yeah, he's talking about women's rights like he cares. Gives two shits about women's rights. Yeah, you want to remove abortion rights, dude. Fuck you. Fuck you.
Anything, but I was something even more morally suspect. I was a professional actor. And...
Oh, yeah. Uh-huh. It doesn't matter, man. You were still wearing women's panties.
And I played 200 roles, I would estimate, in my acting career.
Oh, so the one doesn't count.
Football players, real macho guys. But you play one half gay guy in a Yale thesis film one time.
Yeah.
It's all anybody wants to talk about.
Yep.
And by the way, I don't remember the exact wardrobe from
True.
the undergraduate thesis film.
You
But
did
I
the thing
think
you
it was
said
male
other people shouldn't do, man.
Attire, but it was a bit risque. There's no question about that. The only further thing I will say about that Yale undergraduate thesis film, that is the most heterosexual thing that has ever been produced at Yale University, okay? So, in the land of the blind, I guess, the one-eyed man is king. In any case, I think your second question was a little bit more of a joke. Your first question...
No. Actually, I would legitimately like to know what you think ought to be done with the fact that you wore women's clothing. You wore attire that was for the opposite sex, man. Sorry. Gotta gulag him.
It seems like a sincere question, and my answer to you is sincere. I'm happy to answer.
She's staring
any
him
more
down, man.
questions you have, but I'm not going to lie to you. And I think the people who are continuing to lie to you about so basic an aspect of your nature and the rights that you have in political society are not doing you any favors at all.
So having yearned for the
no claps.
For the days when
There was
you
like
were able
two.
to cross-dress in San Francisco, I'm just very curious why you're so comfortable, wearing drag in these films. It's
true.
Sure,
it's a
I don't know.
silly
I was an actor and I
contradiction.
wore silly costumes. I don't know what to tell you. If you have a sincere question about the issue,
It
or
is
my
sincere.
stance on transgenderism, or
What makes you say it's not
any
sincere?
advice that you might be seeking, I'm happy to do it. But if you merely want to say that Yale is a bit of a queer school, and I was in a student film, I guess I was, and I was basically the most macho guy at that school. What does that tell you about Yale University?
Wow, okay, dude, yeah. A little bit of self-deprecation. Yeah, okay, fuck you, man. Yeah.
When you
Self-deprecation.
harp on your right to distinguish between men and women, are you afraid that you're going to be attracted to trans women?
I'm not.
Ooh.
Are you positive?
Say it again. I didn't hear the second part.
Then why is it that you harp on your right to distinguish between men and women? If you can always tell, why is it so hard?
Well, because
True,
it's
good
not
point.
even merely that you're putting on a dress, it's that you and people who identify as transgender are infringing upon rights and spaces that properly belong to women, and you have no right to do that. And so when you ask me, why do you care about this issue? And by the way, it's not just me, it's like the vast majority of voters who...
No, that's a legit question. If you actually do believe that you can always tell, then you shouldn't give a shit about people trying to trick you or whatever. Okay, you can't have it both ways. This has always been an inherent contradiction in transphobia.
Care about this. The reason is because we live in society and we have political rights.
Society.
And also because we care for the truth. And the very fact that this always happens with the sexual revolutionaries. They always say, you know, if you oppose... If you don't agree with the idea that a man can secretly be a woman, then maybe you're a transgender or something. I think the implication is quite clear, which is that you recognize there's something obviously disordered about
No. That's not the takeaway at all. That's really stupid, actually.
this identity. That's why in your attempt to insult people who are pointing out the truth, you're
No, it's calling you a fucking hypocrite, man. You're a hypocrite.
accusing them of that very same thing. But that inclination, that impulse to see that as a disorder should be instructive to you, and I think it could help you if you would allow yourself not to just cast it on someone else, but to look in the mirror.
If you ever want to explore your true self, my Instagram is @demigloom, DEMIGLO.
Nice. That is an exit right there,
Thank you so
baby.
much. I'll
Got
have to
fucking
take a rain
applause on
check.
that one. Fantastic work all around. Just wonderful. Demi Gloom, that was amazing. Good job. I think honestly, might even put that at the level of my Matt Walsh appearance. Who's to say? Is this person asking the Q a content creator? I think so. Here, wait. Let's shout him out. Demi Gloom, YouTube.com. Here we are. 124 subscribers. It doesn't look like they've uploaded in a bit, but they are a content creator, so definitely get over there. Go check them out. But yeah, that was really good. No notes. Absolutely railed him, made him look like a freaking fool. To the extent that apparently he kept taking swipes at her after she left.
You know, the transvestite fellow who just came up here, obviously...
Oh yes, the transvestite fella.
Very impassioned about his mistaken identity. And so he's allowing that to cloud his reason. And to the point even...
Yeah, shut the fuck up. Nobody cares. Great job, Demi Gloom. No notes. Keep up the good work. If you guys see this shit coming to your hometowns, get out there. You too can be this person, okay? You too can be that person who epically owns Michael Knowles in the marketplace of ideas. It's fun. It's really fun. You should try it. Okay, and with that, I think I'm good, guys. I might do a gaming stream tomorrow. I have not decided yet. Oh. I pushed my microphone back and I'm still trying to talk, sorry. See, that's why I'm tired I am. I might do a gaming stream tomorrow. I haven't decided yet. Let me see who's live real quick. We'll go with... Fuck it, we'll go with Lucy Hayes. Okay, Lucy Hayes. Alrighty, guys, I'm sending you all over to Lucy Hayes. I will link Lucy Hayes' channel in the YouTube chat so you guys can go over easily. Looks like they're just now starting. So get over there. And if you're on the site chat, you will be able to see it on the site chat. You can click on the title of the stream if you would like. I was just watching her. Nice. But yeah, get over there. Have a great rest of your weekend if I don't come back tomorrow. If I do come back tomorrow, then I will see you then. I'm trying to do more gaming streams. Shano and I had a plan to possibly play some Pal World, but we will see. Because I'm not sure yet, but we'll see. All right. Take care, everybody. And, oh, shit.
Amazing how people expect to get quality information from someone whose name is literally no less.
True. Great point. Good job. Good job. Good job. Thank you so much for another 5 tier 1 gifted subs, Saka Tanuki. I appreciate you very much. All right. With that, everybody, thank you all for being here. Have a good weekend. I will see you all when I see you all. Take care.